this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Happy Thursday. It is the Annie Fry Show, and it looks as though the Senate got some sense to themselves, and they did not try to limit the administration, at least for now, limit their ability to continue on with the actions that they have taken place so far in Iran. It's really quite something to watch the development over there. President Trump, every time he's asked, who's in charge over there, he keeps saying things like, I don't know, as soon as we think we know who it is, then that person's dead. I think that I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, it kind of like, are you deading them, or is it Israel, or how's this working? So you have the left, you have the Democrats who, when they came out of the meeting where they were briefed about what was going on, there was a unified message from the Democrats, save one, John Fetterman. They came out and they essentially acted as though this president has no idea what he's doing. Like, if you just dipped into the story, okay, we heard some bombs were being dropped, Iran, there's something crazy going on, are we at war? If you were only exposed to the Democrats and their reaction to what is taking place in Iran, you would think that Donald Trump was a crazy man with a big red button that he couldn't stop pushing. Is that fair? I mean, to that extent, like that crazy.
Yeah, they couldn't figure out how to hate Donald Trump, but that was what they chose.
Do we have the Jeffries clip where he said that it's going to end in failure?
That's on yesterday's folder, but yeah.
When Jeffries was on maybe CNN, he was talking about like, this is what's going to happen next. And he's part of that gang of 8. So he's been briefed in a way that is a little deeper than what everybody else in Congress is going to get. Like, they have a high level of clearance. And the message is the same no matter what the topic. It's really quite something. You wouldn't have to understand any part of what Jeffries heard. You wouldn't have to understand any part of what the subject matter even was. They could be talking about the funding of the Department of Homeland Security. And when they walk out, they say, well, Donald Trump is completely incompetent and dangerous. But it's worse than that when you have somebody like Hakeem Jeffries, who's the leading member of the minority in the House of Representatives. When you have him come out and he makes a statement, and it's a statement that's not just critical of Donald Trump. It goes a little harder than just being critical of Donald Trump.
This military action is connected to regime change.
He did say this has been a winding road, but this did begin with Donald Trump seeing the protests, massive protests, and the bloody crackdown that killed thousands that occurred in Iran. And Donald Trump said very clearly, keep protesting, help is on the way. And this then led to concerns from him on the nuclear program.
There's nowhere in the United States Constitution where it says that we are to be the policemen and women of the world. I mean, that's the reality. Yes, we are the leaders of the free world at this particular point in time, but there's a role for the United States to play in terms of diplomacy, building coalitions, and none of that was done in this particular instance. And the American people, again, are not interested in their taxpayer dollars being spent for another failed regime change war.
Failure? So insightful Hakeem Jeffries is that he's able to predict failure. This is something that Pete Hegseth was asked about, and he was giving a briefing. I love that his briefings are at 7 a.m. Central Time. That's just really wild. I mean, in California, you stay up for those. You don't get up for those. But you have Pete Hegseth coming out with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Raising Cane. Do you only think of chicken when you hear that?
Yeah.
You a Raising Cane's fan?
No.
I've had it before, and I'm like, okay, it's chicken. And other people are like, you will worship at the altar of Raising Cane's. And I was like, I, in fact, will not.
Once in a while, I feel like getting some chicken strips, and I drive by and I see the line, and I say, no thanks.
Those people are pumped.
They are. They're committed.
Those two gentlemen briefing the nation at 7 a.m. Central Time. It's 8 a.m. their time. That's reasonable, but that's Eastern.
They're setting the expectation for the nation.
Also, before I get to the point of Pete Hegseth being asked about those political leaders that are saying that this is already a failure. Yesterday at that briefing, Kane was getting ready to show a map and do things that you would hope the chairman of the Joint Chiefs would be able to say, like strategery kind of things. And he pulls out his laser and he starts moving his laser around the room. He's like, he basically says, I hope I don't kill any of you with my laser. But he's really casual. It'd be like if Steve Moore was doing it at our programming ops meeting or something like that. Hope I don't knock any of you down with my laser here. And I'm just like, you can't joke about that. It's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. You can't point lasers at people and be like, hope you don't die.
But he was just a laser pointer.
Yeah, he was just pointing maps.
He wasn't saying that they could actually
Or
kill
was
them.
he? I mean, what do you think that laser was capable of? Because his joking insinuation was, you should duck.
His insinuation was that we have deadly lasers that can kill people.
Oh, you're darn right we do. That's basic.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Inspector Gadget had that stuff.
It's not usually the part of the...
If Inspector Gadget had it in 1990s in flat animation, Raising Cane's got a few in his pockets.
Well, I've also seen shows about time travel. I don't know that we have that.
So Pete Hegseth is up there and a reporter asks him, what do you think about these people who are talking, basically talking about the mission on its way to failure? He goes, I've seen this. I've been in this movie. He goes, everybody in my generation has been there. And I can understand that because those people, how old is Pete Hegseth? Can you find out what year he was born in? Because I'm an 84 kid and I feel like he's probably somewhere around that, maybe a few years older. This is devastating to 80?
1980,
Okay.
45.
It's devastating to me when I'm like, look that up. And it's like 1989. And I'm like, well, what the heck am I doing with my life?
I know.
He basically dismisses the idea that the clown shows, like the Hakeem Jeffries of the world, are out there throwing the word failure out on day 3 of a mission where we're in utter obliteration of an enemy's capacity to kill us. And he's just basically like, and it's the right thing to do. He's basically saying those people do those things. Next question. Every day that we move away from the initial day, there is going to be more politics injected into this. But every day that Iran continues to look more and more desperate and erratic, and we see more and more countries that really should be kind of going, hey, can you back off Iran a little bit? Like maybe not, we're going to fire missiles back at you, but when you've got Turkey going, whoa. This is a situation where the world is noticing a pivot point where we can go from where we've been to where we're going, and maybe we don't have to live in fear of a tantrum-throwing, religious zealotry, cleric-led Iran that's like dabbling in nuclear warheads. Like everybody's going, okay, we've aligned ourselves accordingly based on what the status quo is. If Iran is not nuclear and is not going to be nuclear and is not going to be run by religious fanatics, that's a huge status quo shift. So everybody with a few brain cells to rub together, all these countries that are around here have to go, if that changes that dramatically, we have to at least assess our position here in the world, and we have to try to figure out where we want our alliances and our keep your friends close and your enemies closer relationships to be. And America is positioning itself to be very friendly to any of these nations that wants to invest in peace. Iran is a nation that has been perpetually, toxically only invested in chaos. If there is order, Iran cannot flex its muscles. That's why they are considered a state sponsor of terror. Iran does what Iran does, but they also seep into everywhere else that they can fund and train terrorists from in other lands. This is something that Iran has done, and it has shaded the entire region. And yes, it could come to the shores of the United States of America. Right now, there's a briefing taking place from the Austin, Texas Police Department talking about Fox News has police play radio traffic of suspected Austin terror attack. You think that that's the one guy in the country who might want to react in this moment due to the actions of this administration? I can assure you it's not. The people who are being emboldened to hate America and act on their hatred of America, we have to pay attention to those people, and we have to protect and make sure that our country is secure from those people. Congress, get off your butts and fund DHS. It's enough of your games. You have lost this battle. ICE is funded. The thing that you can't stand, the thing that you're trying to shut this whole thing down, ICE was funded in the Big Beautiful Law, also known as the BBL. That's already been funded. You shut down ICE, you shut down TSA. You make our flight system less secure, or at least, I mean, I know a lot of people are like, get rid of TSA altogether. I'm not really one of those people. I don't really actually mind the inconvenience, but maybe one day I'll change my mind on that. You want to make the flight system, even if there's a transitionary period where we go from security for airplanes looking like this to security for airplanes looking like that, there has to be a planned transition. Democrats can't show up and do their jobs to make sure that TSA can be funded, can be paid for, can put food on their table for the work that they're doing. It's time for Democrats to get off their butts and to do their jobs. And if you want to change policy, you have to win elections so that you have the majority in the House to do so. You got to get the job done. Senator Eric Schmitt will be with us at 1:30 to talk a little bit more about what's at stake here. Always great to talk to him. Congressman Bost as well at 1:05. I'm going to talk to him. He's the chairman of the House Veterans Affairs Committee, so I'm going to talk to him a little bit about that Congressional Medal of Freedom ceremony that took place a little bit earlier this week. Give him the opportunity to speak on that. And Hans von Spakovsky will be with us in just a minute. The YouTube poll for today, basically related to nothing that I'm talking about right now, but I just have to know, should smoking marijuana be made illegal again? Smoking marijuana. Should it be made illegal again? Yes or no? I need to know what you think about this, because I'm wondering, I see a lot of people having a lot of regrets about the influence that marijuana has when other people are using it in a cloud of smoke. And it is now part of your life while you're walking down the street, while you are shopping in your grocery store or Walmart, while you are driving down the highway. I just don't even understand this. Some people think that it should never have been made legal to begin with. I'm curious if you think the smoking element of it should be made illegal again. Anti-Fry YouTube channel, go vote. We'll speak with Hans von Spakovsky next.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
I'm John Morgan. There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Reason number 3. First, all lawyers are not the same. If my family had an injury case and I couldn't hire us, there are only about 3 to 4% of the lawyers out there that I would hire. And here's why. Most of them rarely, if ever, go to trial. They just take the last best offer. Hell, you can do that yourself. Do this. If you're looking for a lawyer, Google Morgan & Morgan results and see what comes up. It may shock you. Then Google the firm you're thinking of hiring and do the same. That may shock you as well. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. We won a lot. $30 billion and counting. Morgan & Morgan, or thepeople.com. Who would I hire? I'd hire us.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Trump is absolutely acting within his constitutionally mandated authorities and rights, and also within the legislative mandates that he'd been given. So he is in compliance with the War Powers Resolution of 1973. He had 48 hours to notify Congress. He actually did it ahead of time. He has 60 days that he can prosecute this war without asking for authorization from Congress. So, you know, this is not about a midterm election like my Democrats are talking about. It's about the future of America. We've been at war with the Iranians for 47 years. They did the Beirut bombing in 1983. They did the Khobar Towers in Saudi Arabia. They're responsible for 17 to 20% of the casualties sustained in Iraq. And it's time for them to go, period.
We the people of the United States.
More perfect.
In our form of our perfect union.
National legal expert Hans von Spakovsky.
Well, Hans, it's great to talk to you because I'm listening to a lot of congressmen and pundits talk about what is constitutional, what's not constitutional. This isn't a constitutional war yet. I'm curious, Hans, is this a lowercase W war right now, or is this a capital W war right now between America, Israel, and Iran?
Well, I don't know whether you can characterize it as a big W or a little w, but what I will tell you is that, look, U.S. military forces have been used in hostile situations in our 250 years as a country, literally hundreds of times. Only in 5 of those cases was there a formal declaration of war by the president. Now, the clip you just played, was about the War Powers Resolution. That was passed in 73 as we were coming out of the Vietnam War. And, what it says is the president can use American military forces in a hostile situation for 60 days. But after that, he can't do it unless Congress either declares war, authorizes use of military force, or the president certifies to Congress he needs them for another 30 days. But there's no enforcement mechanism. Not only that, but remember this act was passed in 73. In 75, just 2 years later, an assistant attorney general at the Justice Department, who you may have heard of, named Antonin Scalia.
Oh, once or twice, yes.
he issued an opinion raising questions about the constitutionality of this particular bill. And what this all boils down to is, remember, the only power that Congress has to stop the president from carrying out his duty as commander-in-chief is the power of the purse. If they want to stop military actions in Iran or anywhere else, then they can stop appropriating the money for the expenditures that are basically carrying this out. Until and unless they do that, there's really no limit on what the president can do.
When we were listening to Congressman Van Orden there from Wisconsin, he was saying that the president did alert them ahead of time to the strikes. Am I understanding that when the qualification for that is for him to tell the Gang of Eight? Is that correct?
Yeah, the War Powers Resolution also has a provision saying within 48 hours, the president is supposed to notify Congress about his use of the military. And, they have a whole list of all the details that he's supposed to give. So far, President Trump is completely in compliance with the War Powers Resolution.
Oh, I like that clip. So, Hans, when you say within 48 hours, is that before the strike or after the strike?
No, it doesn't have to be before the strike. Look, Congress was pretty anti the president in 73 when they passed this, again, because of the Vietnam War, because of Richard Nixon, but I think even they realized that requiring 48 hours notice to Congress before a strike would be a really stupid requirement, because you and I both know it would immediately leak.
Yeah.
And it would alert the people we're going up against.
And put our men and women in harm's way, most certainly.
Yes.
Hans von Spakovsky speaking with us right now, Advancing American Freedom Senior Legal Fellow. So when you're assessing what the president has done so far, and I just said Gang of Eight, and I like to dig a little bit deeper into some of these words that we discuss back and forth. Can you explain the Gang of Eight to us, and what kind of, do they have any extra authority, or what is the purpose? Who makes up the Gang of Eight?
Well, the Gang of Eight, I think he's talking about folks within Congress. It's the leadership. Plus, of course, we also have the Joint Chiefs of Staff who carry out these operations. Those are the people that not only have to plan it, but also have to be notified, certainly on the congressional side. And, I've heard people raise issues saying, oh, no, we're going to get dragged into another war. Look, there's obviously, I don't think, any plans to have American troops on the ground over there, and there doesn't need to be. The whole point of this is to decapitate the political leadership of this country, the military leadership, and most importantly, to destroy their military capabilities. It'd be great if they then establish a democracy, but even if the militants and others are still able to retain control, by destroying their military capability, we are damaging their ability to carry out terrorist attacks all over and to fund all these different terrorist groups. And that's the most important thing here.
We're speaking with Hans von Spakovsky. When you hear the politicians come out and claim, it's frustrating, but I don't know why it's be surprising to anybody that they brief Congress. The Republicans come out and they're like, they've done this, 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 and this, and they say that it's going to be a 4-week schedule, but they do say that they're also ahead of schedule. And just like you were saying, they've got a plan that is in place to keep this to not being a forever war. But then the left comes out and they are entirely suggesting that Trump is willy-nilly out there without a plan, no strategy. Is there any sort of unbecoming of a congressman behavior when you're in the throes of military involvement in a conflict like this? Is there any sort of repercussion for that free speech that they have to come out and say things that may or may not be true?
Unfortunately not. Look, 50 years ago, maybe even 40 or 30 years ago, members of Congress actually were pretty good about realizing that while they could get into huge fights inside the country, that once we were involved in armed conflict, in a war, criticizing what we were doing, particularly abroad, was not a good idea, because that's not good for supporting the actual personnel carrying out these kind of things. But as you know, that's gone out the window, along with so much of the civility that we used to think ought to be part of our culture, and including our political culture. So are there repercussions? No, other than perhaps not getting elected, which, as you know, just happened to Representative Crockett in Texas.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about the redistricting efforts that have taken place across the country, because Texas, to my understanding, is really the first place where we've seen those redistricted areas have an effect on what the makeup of Congress is going to look like from that particular state. Are there other states like Texas that have redistricted that are going to be holding their primaries very soon that we will see more of the finality of what has taken place in Texas?
Well, as you know, California, their new districts are going to be in place because the Supreme Court refused to stop that. On the other hand, the Supreme Court just within the last day or two acted to prevent a New York court's order to redistrict one of the Republican districts there. Virginia is about to start voting, I think within a week. They will start voting on a referendum that Democrats passed to basically get rid of almost all of the Republican districts in Virginia. Right now, the polling on that is that most voters are against it. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. That election day is actually third week in April, but people will already be voting because Virginia has a 45-day, if you can believe it, early voting period.
I can. I live in Illinois, Hans. I think that's 5 days. That might be a little bit longer than Illinois because Illinois is usually the winner/loser on those issues. Last question I wanted to ask you before we let you go. That Supreme Court ruling that came out of California, was it? A 6-3 ruling that gave parents some right to hear about what their kids are saying and doing at school and separating what teachers can and can't keep from those parents. Can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Yeah, that is such an important case. And what's so, I think, strange and bizarre to me is that all these cases, are reaching the Supreme Court, cases about parental rights, cases about boys pretending to be girls, participating in women's sports, all of which 20 years ago, everyone would have said, that's so ridiculous. Why in the world would this get all the way to the Supreme Court? But I tell you, it's a sign of the lack of common sense that unfortunately is so pervasive, particularly in the far left today. So this is another case to uphold parental rights, something that we have long said is a very powerful right in this country. It's parents who are the ones who get to say what happens with their kids.
And because it took place in California, it was a case that came out of that state and made its way to the Supreme Court. I'm curious, just the specificity of teachers being in a classroom and their, state school board of education or maybe a local school board, if they implement a policy that says if a student in your classroom chooses to identify different than their birth gender, or if they're talking to you about these things, if those teachers in classrooms in states outside of California are told that they are not allowed to communicate that to the parents, would that have to be relitigated in state after state after state? Or does this Supreme Court ruling have any bearing on that for Missouri and Illinois?
Well, you might have to relitigate it because other states, particularly school administrators, might refuse to follow it. They should be following what the Supreme Court has said. And if they don't do it, parents will be able to sue and they'll be able to easily win because of what the Supreme Court has said. But you and I both know, unfortunately, so many school administrators these days are part of the far left.
Yes.
So they may basically try to engage in what Southerners in the 1950s called massive resistance. Remember when the Supreme Court ruled you can't segregate schools, and all these officials and others said, well, we're just not going to follow that.
Well, if the precedent is set at the Supreme Court, hopefully parents will have the ability to reclaim their rights rather quickly.
Yes.
Hans von Spakovsky, you're a treasure to have with us here on the show. Thanks for the time today.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. I'll be speaking to him about that, especially that Supreme Court case. Can you imagine, Ryan, finding out that your kid's been telling a teacher and their classmates for 2 years that they, at first, wanted to be called James instead of Jane, and then maybe it got a little bit further, and maybe they kind of changed clothes when they went to school, and the teachers knew it, and they were instructed to keep it from you.
I can't. No.
Well, that's happening in the state of Illinois.
It's amazing. It's amazing that lawmakers want to step in and find that scenario right there and go, we want that to happen. That's what they're trying to make happen. They made it legal in Illinois.
It's demonic. Anyway, the YouTube poll, should smoking marijuana be made illegal again? Everybody calm down. Smoke if you got it. Just kidding. Well, I don't really care. It's legal. I want to know if you think that smoking marijuana, I should have said in public, but I'm making it smoking marijuana. That's what it is. So if you want to say no, but not in public, you can leave us a comment on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll if you so choose. But should smoking marijuana be made illegal again? Yes or no? I did not think that we would have a large swath of people say, yes, it should be made illegal again. I thought if it's a close one, then I think it's an issue. If our audience is like, we're past this, move on, Annie. Okay, fine. I am sick of being accosted by other people's odor. And I am sick of playing skunk or pot in our car while we're driving down the highway with our friends.
Me too.
And our family. I'm tired of it. We could maybe lose the smoking version of it. I don't know. Well, let's discuss more. Text us. Ryan's manning the text line, 314.
Why did you pause after Manning?
I was not even looking at you. I can't even see you right now. I'm looking at the phone numbers. Why'd you take that so personally?
I don't know. It just felt like there was something more to it. Manning it like Eli and Peyton.
Maybe that's just something you need to be introspective about.
No.
Look inward.
No, I just
don't look at me. I wasn't looking at you. 314-241-9797. Text Ryan compliments, really, and maybe about the poll. Back in a minute. All right, I was talking with Matt Hayes yesterday, and the basements are wet, folks. He knows. He's waiting for your phone call, 314-271-9900. Your basement is taking on water. We've had a lot of rain in the last few days, and you got to get ahead of this thing. You got to put it behind you. This is a really, really smart move to make a phone call. It costs you nothing to make the phone call. It costs you nothing to have Matt Hayes and Home Shield Foundation Repair, the best team in the business, come look at what you're dealing with so that you have facts to work on. Don't be afraid of what you don't know. Be afraid of what could happen in the future with that basement if you don't fix that water leaking problem, the crack, the foundation. It's compromised. You need a solution. And the number one thing is you need to work with somebody you can trust. Simple. Matt Hayes. Call him at 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. And tell him Annie sent you and invite him out to look at your basement to get you a solution that's going to work once and for all. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. We are in the 6th hottest real estate market in the country, Stewie. What can buyers in St. Louis do to gain that advantage with you?
You know what, Mark? It's real simple. Number one, the Bagel loan. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. The Big Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Take that money you're saving, add it to the bid, beat all the other offers out. Number two, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. What does that mean? We pre-approve you for the maximum amount that you qualify for. You can then go into our portal and edit the letter and raise it or lower it to any amount you want up to the amount you pre-approved. No waiting for the loan officer, no waiting for anybody else. It's all in your hands. And the third thing, we can close in 10 days. That's a big deal. If you go to the seller and say, hey, here's my offer. It may not be the best, but we can close quick. Everybody else is 30 days out. You know it's going to happen quickly with our reputation. Big bam boom, you got the house of your dreams.
Call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440 or Google the Bagel Loan. NMLS number 226715.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA. So we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
We are inviting you to text in on today's YouTube live chat poll. Should smoking marijuana be made illegal again? 314-241-9797 if you'd like to text in like this person did. I'm just going to pull up a random comment here, just completely random. No, marijuana should not be outlawed again. Ryan, you're very handsome and very funny. Oh, come on. Weird. There's so many coming in, and I chose that. I don't know. That's just what it is.
There's no way.
Is this what it is?
There's no way.
This is what 1238. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
From the gateway to the airwaves, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Ryan, when did you stop smoking pot?
2000.
Don't say that. That's believable.
Just a random date.
I know, but people would believe that. You don't smoke
I
pot.
never smoked.
You made it where I feel like I have to clarify.
It's getting smoky in here.
Is it warm in here?
Yeah, it is. It's warm in here, and it smells like pot, Brad.
I know. We keep telling him to
I
stop.
know.
It's gonna-
I do my best to get rid of that pot smell before you guys come in here. And it just
You're not
doesn't
doing
work.
good enough job.
I don't have much to work with.
Is it the Mark Cox Morning Show, or is it Brian Kilmeade?
I think it's Kilmeade.
I think it's
Kilmeade. It's got to be Kilmeade, right?
I don't know if that's defamation. He's
Depends
in
on
New
if he
York.
likes it or not.
I am like exponentially offended by having to smell pot. Like the next person that I smell smoking with the pot smoke smell on him, that
Sounded like Bill Cosby for a second.
I don't
With
know.
the pot smoke smell on him.
That person bears my ire of every person gone before them.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And my question initially, I had it all typed out and everything. And the question initially was going to be, what is the proper reaction when you're driving down the highway or even like in town and you pull up to a stoplight, the next person is toking it up? What's the proper reaction? The first response was mind your own business. The second response was going to be dirty gesture or dirty look. And the third one was call the police.
Ooh. Dirty gesture. Dirty look, I should say. Not even dirty gesture.
I think that's the worst response.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, why?
Because it does nothing.
It shames them.
I don't know.
But they're probably so high they don't feel ashamed.
I think you're flexing a little bit too much on the power of your dirty looks.
I am. Yeah,
What kind
my
of dirty
my
look
dirty
you
look
giving
can
them?
give me, look at this.
They're going to call the police on
Ryan,
you.
this is
The man who
radio.
escaped is in the car right next to me. He doesn't look like he's okay. He might
Yeah.
need medical assistance.
He's mouthing words. He's,
Is he having a stroke?
Dirty looks in a car or gestures are dangerous things to do because when you're in a vehicle and the other person's in a vehicle, if that person is angrily spurred by your gestures, now you're both in cars, road rage sets in.
What about a gesture like tisk tisk? Like you rub your finger against
It looks
your
like you're
finger.
trying to start a fire, and they're like, "Yeah, man."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that could be misinterpreted.
What if you look at him and pinch your nose and wave your hand in front of your face?
And then
like
point at him?
Yeah, you stink.
I like that one a lot. Annie?
Dumb. It's dumb.
We're getting
I want to be the hall monitor, and I want to drive around and call the police on all these people.
I do too.
I think the police would hate me for it.
Yes, they would.
They're police officers. You're sitting in your patrol car right now, and you've got a thought and opinion on this, and I want you to text the line and tell us what you as a police officer want to have done.
Yeah.
Now, we can't know that you're a legit police officer. If you are a cop and you have my cell phone number, because I know a lot of you do, and if you have you can go to Facebook and message me, I would love your input. I won't unveil who you are.
Text the line, but then text in not a police officer, wink. Then we
Call
can't
that
we can't trace it
call
back
that
to you.
a nap.
Yeah. 314-241-9797.
Yeah, I want to know what the appropriate thing to do is. I put this out on X a few days ago, maybe over the weekend or something. Like, there are just too many people smoking weed in cars. And
Yes.
I said something to the effect of, like, what are you supposed to do? And I had a police officer respond there that said that it's driving under the influence. And he said people call the cops all the time. Like, if I see somebody who is clearly either a drunk driver or a completely reckless driver, I am definitely calling the cops on you every single time. I don't know why the marijuana thing makes me less inclined to be like, well, that's the natural reaction. It's what I want to do, but I don't want to be a tattletale. So,
I mean, if you were driving down the road and you saw somebody with a 40-ounce bottle of liquor drinking,
yes,
and
I just said I would call. Like that is easy to me.
What's the difference between that and a joint?
I think the way it makes you act. It's a huge difference.
I mean,
the way
in the
alcohol,
eyes of the law.
huh?
In the eyes of the law.
Well, first of all, the cost to process, from what I was told on X, the cost to process the test to determine incapacity with marijuana is expensive. So they said that they don't run them as much. And the person said this is a really stupid reason not to do it. But you don't see people drinking alcohol in their cars. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, you don't really see.
You don't know that's happening. You don't see people hitting a fifth or whatever while they're driving down the highway. You see them driving like a crazy person, and that's the thing that you call them on. You smell like the person could be driving the speed limit in the right lane, smoking it up, and you smell it. So you have an understanding that it's happening, but their driving behavior that you're witnessing might not be connected at all with the fact that they are driving while they're getting high. I think that's a huge difference in why people would or would not, because the illegal activity that affects me, you would think, is the erratic driving. That's the difference. Have you ever seen anyone driving down the highway drinking out of a beer can or something like that?
I mean,
I'm from Southern Illinois.
If ever, once or twice.
I don't know what that means. I am too, and I don't see that. You see that all the time?
All the time? I wouldn't say all the time, but I do see it.
How frequently do you see this?
I don't know, once a month.
I want to know where you're driving, so I don't drive there.
Back roads.
Do you call the police on them?
Yeah.
Every time?
Not every time.
Why not?
Because I'm on my way somewhere and it's just
inconvenient.
Yeah.
Plus, it's probably rural roads where there's not as much traffic.
Wouldn't the determination of whether you would call the police be as if they're driving erratically and they look like they're a danger?
Yeah.
It's not the visual of the beer or whatever they're drinking, which is the same point of the marijuana. Like, just because you notice that they're doing something that is illegal, the effect it has on other people is what you're just saying right now is what would make you call the police. So same. Just because, I mean, first you smell it, right? You're driving down the highway and you're minding your own gosh darn business. And yeah, you're going 5 miles over the hour, so you're a criminal too. But you're driving down the highway and all of a sudden you're like, oh, another one. And then you're driving by everybody like sticking your head and you're looking through them as you go by everyone. Is it you? And then you go to the next person, speed up because you got to survey everyone.
Windows are all tinted and you're like, dang it.
You're trying to find the person who it is. I mean, if it were alcohol and it were impairing them the way alcohol impairs people while they're driving, any alcohol is too much. Then what you're going to end up having happen is you're going to be calling people out just because you identify that you see it, not because their driving actually impacts it.
Two texts really, really quick.
No.
Okay.
No. There's breaking news right now. Donald Trump has fired Department of Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem. And Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen is now replacing Kristi Noem as the DHS secretary. That's a really big deal. Let's listen in right now. Listen into the report here and get the latest.
That she made, and then most recently this week, her testimony on Capitol Hill, there were reports that her defense of her campaign, her ad campaign, $200 million in spending that prominently featured her sometimes on horseback, claiming that the president, according to these reports, had approved of that, reportedly upset him. He wasn't happy about giving the impression that he had sort of authorized that amid this broader administration effort to root out fraud. So she's being moved now into another role. The Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas, a new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere that they're announcing on Saturday. The president's been, defensive of Kristi Noem for the last several weeks as she's faced questions about her ability to carry out her duties. He regularly pointed to the success closing the southern border, the fact that there have been no illegal immigrants caught and released into the interior of the U.S. for several months, the fact that overdoses and murders are at historic lows, and pointed to those successes to sort of boost her up and defend keeping her in place. But it seems like that testimony on Capitol Hill might have been a turning point. There were also some reports that FEMA funding that was stalled suddenly came through after questioning. And so this is a rapid development, of course, and something we didn't expect until potentially after the midterms. This is a strange time for the president to make that major of a shakeup. But there was, sort of the writing on the wall after he elevated Tom Homan, his border czar, to take a more prominent role in the ICE deportation campaign. It's well reported that there's been a long-standing rift between Homan and Noem about how this should be handled, sort of the firmer approach versus the softer touch that Homan went in and sort of cleaned up amid all of that public scrutiny over what transpired in Minnesota. Of course, the policy still stands. The president's policy and the goal of deporting any illegal immigrant in the country and certainly prioritizing those who are guilty of crimes does still stand. But the president faced questioning about how much he wanted to defend her. And it seems in the past few weeks that that patience might have worn out.
Yeah, a little bit more about his replacement seems to be how when President Trump made the announcement, the focus seemed to be on his record, Jackie. This is somebody, obviously, he's putting his full support behind in making this announcement.
That's right. And Markwayne Mullin is very well liked. He does a lot of TV. He's articulate and, certainly has a lot of relevant experience. Haven't had a chance to read through everything in this very long truth, darted up to the camera as soon as we saw it come out, or make any calls to any other officials to find out more of what has gone on, sort of the background thinking that we might not know from all of the reports that have surfaced. You tend to read that kind of thing, especially when, in newsletters, with a little bit of a grain of salt, and wonder, sure, you might ask a question of an official or two, but you don't necessarily take it as, Bible verse. So we certainly need to find out what the president's thinking was, and if it was that testimony in Capitol Hill that changed his mind, if Markwayne Mullin, some quality of his made him better positioned for a new policy objective. We still have to get those answers from them, but from just a first blush read of this news, and looking back to the reporting of the last several weeks and months that was critical of Kristi Noem, this is what we know right now.
Yeah, well, you mentioned his numerous television appearances. He was sitting right beside me yesterday. He's always happy to come over and chat with us here. Jackie, thanks so much. We'll let you gather some more information. Chad Pergram joining us now from Capitol Hill. He's got more on the senator and his qualifications to be Homeland Security Secretary. Chad.
Well, you have to think about somebody who would be confirmed in the Senate. And usually the Senate looks at people who are one of their own, somebody who is known, even if you disagree with their policies, as somebody who's pretty confirmable. That we don't know yet. Chris Coons, the Democratic senator from Delaware, just a couple of moments ago, said when he was asked about Markwayne Mullin and whether or not he thought he could do the job, he said, we'll see. But he said it would be hard to, to do any worse, basically, than Kristi Noem, at least in the eyes of Chris Coons. This is something where this is going to be a safe seat in Oklahoma, where they could appoint somebody. You're not going to, change the vote matrix in the Senate there. It's going to be a Republican, and they're not going to, have any problems probably getting reelected, in a special election or whatever they would have to do. But they have to get through that process of confirmation. You might remember that really for quite a period during the second part of President Trump's first administration that they had acting Homeland Security secretaries. And I think at the end of the day, we'll look back at those two hearings in both the Senate and the House of Representatives the past couple of days on Capitol Hill as not even the camel that broke, the straw that broke the camel's back, but kind of a hammer. I mean, it was pretty obvious to some people on Capitol Hill that Kristi Noem was probably living on borrowed time. But again, Markwayne Mullin, he's close to the president. He's somebody who is dialed in closely with the Senate Republican leadership. And, it would not be surprising to me to probably have a couple of Democrats who might vote for him because they like him personally and they view him as an honest broker. He's somebody who has worked across the aisle. However, You might have some people who question his temperament. You might remember a couple of years ago where there was a witness, a labor union witness testifying, and he challenged him to a fight. Mark Wayne Mullen is a former MMA fighter, and he actually took his wedding ring off and jumped across the dais as though he was going to fight him. And, they restored order, and Bernie Sanders, who was the chairman of the committee, admonished Mullen. So that might be a strike against him. But again, generally, I want to come back to people who are in the Senate. They're usually people who they can confirm without too many problems. And keep in mind, they don't have to get 60 votes to break a filibuster on a high-level nomination like this for a cabinet secretary. They just need a simple majority, the way they changed the Senate precedent several years ago, guys.
So you got Chad Pergram, of course, reporting on this massive news out of D.C. Donald Trump has fired Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She gone. I think that they said in there a little bit that there's like another special position that she's being moved to.
Yeah.
But a senator from Oklahoma, Mullen, Mark Wayne Mullen. I always struggle with his name because Mark Wayne is one word. Is he like Amy Coney Barrett? No, it's Mark Wayne. That's his first name.
Right.
Mullen is his last name. Has now been named the new Department of Homeland Security Secretary. He will have to be confirmed by the Senate. It is by a simple majority. He will not be able to vote for himself. He'll definitely get the votes of the Republicans. I'm certain he'll get some votes from some Democrats. Fetterman will support him. I was looking for, and I haven't been able to find it yet, but he just got in a spat with Bernie Sanders just like the last couple days. I'm going to play this for you before we wrap the show because it's really actually pretty funny. Raise your hand if you're happy that Kristi Noem is gone. 3 out of 3 in this room. Liability for the administration. In my mind, is she the worst person who could be in there? No. But they have all-stars at a huge amount of these positions in the cabinet, and she is a distraction, in my opinion, because she's made herself to be a distraction to the efficacy of her ability to do the job. She still had, there's still been a great execution of Homeland Security. I wonder if, I'm just thinking out loud, but I wonder if Kristi Noem's firing is how they get the government funded. I wonder if that was a concession. I wonder if the Democrats were asking for this, asking for that, for ICE. All of these, they want these warrants, what do you call them, judicial warrants or whatever, in order for them to be able to go and do what ICE does to deport people. And that's just, all that is a massive slowing down of the process. That's what the Democrats want. But I wonder if they wanted a scalp. And if Trump said, you can have Kristi Noem, I'm done with that. And I wonder if we're going to see DHS be funded soon because the stakes are pretty freaking high right now. And if the Democrats can come out, trot out and say, we got Kristi Noem out of there. I wonder how quickly we'll see that. I'm going to ask Eric Schmitt about it at 1:30, and we've got Congressman Mike Bost on the Annie Frey Show when we come back. Don't go away.
This is a Fox News alert. The head of Homeland Security is out. I'm Lisa Brady. President Trump just posting he's replacing Kristi Noem with Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin. Noem has been a target for Democrats critical of immigration enforcement operations under the DHS umbrella.
And then most recently this week, her testimony on Capitol Hill, there were reports that her defense of her campaign, her ad campaign, $200 million in spending that prominently featured her sometimes on horseback, claiming that the president, according to these reports, had approved of that, reportedly upset him. He wasn't happy about giving the impression that he had sort of authorized that amid this broader administration effort to root out fraud.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. The president, though, is praising Noem for her service and moving her into a new role, special envoy for a new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere. Senator Mullin would need Senate confirmation. One House Republican is now facing a call from GOP leaders to drop his reelection bid.
A day after Texas Republican Tony Gonzalez admitted to an affair with an aide, top House Republicans, including Speaker Mike Johnson, are calling for Gonzalez to end his reelection bid. Gonzalez advanced to a runoff on Tuesday in a Republican primary. The House Ethics Committee has announced an investigation into the congressman's conduct. A sexual relationship with a subordinate is a violation of House rules. The former aide died by suicide last year.
Fox's Jared Halpern in D.C. Gonzalez has said he has no plans to resign. As fighting continues in the Middle East, spreading to more countries with Iran's retaliatory strikes, the U.S. House is voting on a war powers resolution aimed at forcing the president to seek congressional approval. A similar effort was blocked in the U.S. Senate yesterday. America is listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-515-1771. That's 800-515-1771. 800-515-1771.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Big news coming out of Washington, D.C. President Trump has relieved Kristi Noem of her duties as Department of Homeland Security Secretary and appointed the senator from Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin, to take that place. We will continue to follow up on that. But in the midst of all this, when we're talking about the Department of Homeland Security, you might want to ask, are they funded? And the answer is no, because the Democrats are standing in the way for God knows what. Well, let's ask a congressman to give us a little more information on that. Congressman Mike Bost with us, the congressman from Illinois' 12th District, also the chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. Congressman, welcome back to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Annie, thanks for having me on.
Oh, you bet.
During this wild time.
Yeah, are you bored? You can't possibly be bored
no,
there.
No. We actually, I just want to let you know that we had a markup for the Farm Bill, which lasted till 2 o'clock. And because I had early meetings this morning and a couple radio shows, I was up back at 5. So we're going strong and fast.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Well, that's good because that's what's best for the American people. I want to get your thoughts on the Kristi Noem firing is way it's being reported right now. Markwayne Mullin taking over. And then, of course, the Department of Homeland Security right now, not funded because they haven't been able to get that bill across.
So first off, on Kristi Noem, I have always respected Kristi Noem. There were some things that came up in a hearing yesterday. That's probably where this stemmed from. I added to some other things. Her, and actually what's really wild is she and Mark Wayne Mullen are very good friends. They were classmates, served with both of them. Mark Wayne will do a good job. So we'll see how that plays out. But the good thing is Mark Wayne is financially independent. So being as he's going into a job that if the Democrats keep doing this, they're not getting paid. So, understand this, the Democrats are holding this funding bill up in the act, saying that they're wanting to do it because of the ICE situation. ICE is already funded for the next 5 years, so it doesn't actually affect them, but it does affect TSA workers at your airports. It affects the Coast Guard. It affects FEMA and all of the other Homeland Security things that are out there. And it is ridiculous because at a time when we're dealing with what we're dealing with in the situation in Iran and the heightened intensity from the Muslim Brotherhood around this world in response to that, homegrown and people who would be in this country here today, we are not paying those people who are busy trying to protect the homeland side. And it's just, it's ridiculous. It's time to quit playing politics and actually start playing for the American team.
Yeah. You know, what is their demands? Well, if you were to say, okay, Democrats, what do you have to have in order to get this done? What do they want?
Okay, first off, one thing they said was body cameras. So guess what? The decision was made that they would wear body cameras. That's not that big a deal. Now, here's the other thing. They want them unmasked. They also want to have them seek out warrants that they don't need because in a lot of these cases, because what you're doing is you're dealing with what? Illegals. But understand that if these sanctuary cities would stop being sanctuary cities and that they would allow their police departments and sanctuary states to turn over people that are illegal to ICE so that things can be handled, that would cure a lot of this problem. But that being said, they're asking a whole lot of things that actually would endanger our law enforcement rather than allowing law enforcement to do their job. Now, and remember this from what we can see in these negotiations. The negotiations are with the president, but it's still when certain things are like the cameras, then they move the goalpost because now many Democrats don't believe it's a good thing to have body cameras because then they will actually see what the criminals around them are doing.
Yeah. So, you know, Illinois sanctuary state, Chicago sanctuary city. Can you explain to me, just give me I don't know if you have a specific anecdote, but if there is a hardened violent criminal arrested here in the state of Illinois, in the sanctuary state that you and I both live in, if there's a hardened criminal that's arrested and he's known to be here illegally, he gets arrested by local police, what happens next or what doesn't happen next?
Well, what doesn't happen next is if our local police and or our sheriffs, and that's what we're dealing with most of the time in my district, because remember, I have 34 sheriffs. Yeah. Most of those sheriffs will go ahead and notify ICE, even though there's a question, are they in violation of state law? Are they, and so you're either going to be in violation of state law or you're going to be in violation of federal law. Most of my sheriffs had said, if we take somebody in and we find out that they're illegal, and are we getting that message from ICE, which is the way that happens, because ICE quite often hears, and all ICE says is, before you release them, just let us know when you're going to release them, and then they'll come in and pick them up. Okay. And that's the way it normally works.
But what about in Chicago? Is that the way the sanctuary cities operate?
Nope. What they do is they just take, and if they arrest them, and they release them, unless they can hold them for the crime that they've done. If it was in their jurisdiction, if they arrest them and they got a warrant someplace else, I'm not sure what their decision is going to be, based on the fact if they're wanting to follow the the rules set forth by the council.
We're speaking with Congressman Mike Bost, Illinois' 12th District Representative in the House of Representatives. You're also the chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. I want to shift to the situation in Iran. And I want to ask a very specific question of you, because you are tasked with a very, very big responsibility to care for our country's veterans. I can hardly think of a higher honor and a bigger responsibility than those who have protected and provided our freedom. I hear a lot of people that maybe even be center to right on the political aisle. They're very concerned that the United States of America does not know how to handle, treat, protect, and restore our veterans once they get done fighting. And a new war creates a bunch of military men and women who have gone and seen battle, gone and participated in something that the rest of us can't understand or comprehend or empathize with. And we don't know what to do with these people, how to care for them truly when we come back. You're the chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. Mm-hmm. What do you have to say to those people who are concerned that while this might be a righteous effort in Iran, we don't do a good enough job of caring for our veterans in our country?
We work along with the Secretary of the VA. Does the VA have problems? Yes, it does, because it is the second largest bureaucracy in the world. That being said, our military veterans, for the most part, seeking help from the VA, will receive that help, and we actually have one of the best policies for taking care of our veterans after war of any nation in the world. Now, but it is vitally important that I do my job and the members of our committee do our job and the staff does their job, working with the secretary, that if we see problems and we see mistakes or see things that aren't being done correctly, to correct them. That is what you have to do when you have the largest bureaucracy in the world. But some of the services our veterans receive, 80, well, I'd say more 90, 95% of the veterans that actually go to VA and seek out the services are very happy with the services they receive. If not, then they can, that's why we're here. Reach out. More than that is when we see the issues that, we have some of the best studies on how to deal with and treat post-traumatic stress, what causes it. Also, we have the best of the best doctors as far as, well, for instance, if you look at the members of Congress that are disabled veterans, and I know one very well, I know them all very well, but one would say he's not disabled, he's just in a situation that other people don't have. And that's Brian Mass. And, he loves the VA, he loves, and I guarantee you, Dan Crenshaw, same thing. Dan Crenshaw has been totally, so those that have been wounded, they get the best treatment and they receive that treatment for life and benefits for life.
Congressman Bost, you're a Marine. You have served. You understand. My quick search here says in the late 70s and the early 80s, you were a part of the service. And of course, once a Marine, always a Marine. Do you feel as though in the amount of time that you have been in the military as an active service member to where you have now ascended to the place where you are the chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee, has there been some low points that now have been rectified? Would you say that maybe people's impression of the VA might be a dated impression?
Yeah. Let me tell you a lot of things that have been rectified and improved upon. One is back whenever I got one, you weren't really told all that was available to you. Now, because of the TAP program, our veterans are being told what's available to them. Also, an important thing to remember about our VAs used to be really good for male, but didn't really have a lot for females. Now, every one of our VAs, because they're our fastest growing group of veterans, they receive services that are gender specific, as well they should. And so there's been a tremendous amount of improvements, as well as quick responses, where remember that whenever I got out, Vietnam was just over, and we had people dying, and they kind of put their head in the sand, and that was over Agent Orange. We have since fixed that, and we did not let that go into a long-time issue when we started dealing with toxic exposure with our post 9/11 veterans. That's why we passed the PACT Act before 2/3 of them died off, like we had with Agent Orange. So we're seeing these things ahead of time. And so this, even in the last few years, our backlog of people that are appealing for their veterans benefits is under 100,000 for the first time since 2020. So they're aggressively going after it and everything like that. But on your other question about my time that I served, I want you to think about this. The day that I joined the Marine Corps, there was a reason I joined. 3 days before the Iran hostages were taken by Ayatollah Khomeini and this regime, I joined to fight Iran. And the regime that I thought we were going to overthrow at that time. 46 years later, 5 presidents later, finally, we have done what needed to be done a long time. And I've got a list of things that is unbelievable if you look at them, of things, terrorist activity and things that they've done, whether it is the ship the coal, whether it was the bombing that they did to the embassy, the list goes on and on, Annie, with and it all stems back to this group of people that not only they do it themselves, or they do it by using proxies that they have trained and or supplied money and weapons to. Look, it's been a long time coming. Yeah. We're going to take care of our veterans, and when as this fight gets over, let me tell you this, and the sad situation of 6 already dead, and it was understand that it's 6 dead because that regime just took and fired drones willy-nilly, not necessarily knowing what they're going to hit, and now that's why all the other countries have now turned on them.
Oh, I want to ask you one final question before we let you go. Congressman Mike Bost speaking with us. There are people who are for or against this war, and there's debate going on. But I've heard people, think they're maybe more on the side of the aisle that you and I reside on, who are suggesting that these servicemen died for Israel or died for a country other than the United States of America. And I've heard other people say it is never anyone's right to put upon a serviceman who they did or did not die for. I just want to get your thoughts on the ultimate sacrifice that these individuals made, that these families made, and any clarity you might like to offer in those statements.
These servicemen and women that have been wounded and the deaths died defending the United States on a military base supplied by the United States in foreign countries, being on the front line for the United States. Whether the people want to know this or not, you do need to understand that we are a superpower, and it is vitally important for those bases that we have overseas to keep our personnel there, because it is better to put our guards up there to assist other countries than it is to be fighting in the streets of Southern Illinois and any place in this United States. Those people that have served our nation, regardless of the branch of service, they do it and they know the risk as they move forward, and they do it out of patriotism. And that patriotism puts them quite often in other countries besides our own, but they are always standing in the guard and on the guard and in the gap for we, the United States citizens. Trust me, I know that. As a veteran, I know that. And as all other veterans, they know that.
Yeah, and we're just indebted to an exponential degree that we can't even put into words for the willingness of those individuals and veterans that you serve on the House Veterans Affairs Committee as a chairman there. We are very grateful.
Remember this. 1% serves 100%. That's how our volunteer system works. It's an average of 1% serve for 100%.
It's incredible. Congressman Bost, thank you for the time today.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
U.S. Congressman for Illinois' 12th District, chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. Great to get his perspective on that. We're going to have Eric Schmitt in about 10 minutes from right now, and we'll talk about this. We're going to talk about the DHS funding. I'm going to ask him about Kristi Noem. Is Mark Wayne Mullen a proper replacement for Kristi Noem, who has been fired as the DHS secretary by President Trump? She's taking questions right now at a press conference. We're going to dip out of this, come back in, listen to a little bit of what she has to say in just a second. Don't go away. Back in a minute. Stewart's American Mortgage. You can reach out to Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440 and ask Stewie about how a bagel loan can help you. Why is it called a bagel loan? It's very simple. What do bagels look like? They look like zeros. And Stewie likes bagels, and you like zeros when it comes to closing costs that you're going to have to pay. Nothing. You don't have to pay anything. I've refinanced twice with Stewie. One time, I just, the rates were dipping crazy low 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, and got my original mortgage in 2015. A few years later, they had gone down significantly. I did a refi, didn't cost me anything, and my rate is now crazy low, thanks to Stewie. The second time I did it, I lowered my rate a little bit more, but I took some cash out, equity out of my house to put a deck on the back of my home that needed to be replaced. I don't know what your circumstances are, but who wants to pay closing costs when they get a new mortgage? Nobody. You got to call, text Stewie, 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. When severe weather hits, scammers often follow. They may pose as charities, jack up prices on essentials, or offer fraudulent home repairs. I'm committed to protecting Missourians from those scams. If you've been targeted or suspect price gouging, report it to our office at 800-392-8222 or online at ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholt of Kaufman Townsley. Victim of a car accident? Not choosing the best lawyer will cost you. But here's the good news. Since you don't pay unless we win, you can afford the very best. Kaufman Townsley. Call 314-777-7777.
Hi, I'm your kid's old jeans. I've been in the drawer for a while and really missed the playground. You should swing by Goodwill and drop me off. Donating me helps Goodwill's mission to provide career training and support services right here in the community. Plus, I can get back into the game. Donate today. Tag, you're it.
To find your nearest Goodwill locations and to learn more about our mission, please visit goodwill.org. Goodwill, where your things start new lives.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, big news of the last hour. President Trump has fired Kristi Noem from the Department of Homeland Security. We're going to play a little bit of her remarks right here. Let's listen in to what she has to say.
Live, let's head there.
Those elected officials and those that step up into public service is to fulfill our duty to protect American citizens. That they should come first under our Constitution and our laws, and they should be prioritized, and especially over other people who are from other countries. The Constitution demands that we treat our citizens that way, and the men and women who serve at the Department of Homeland Security, they understand the importance of that, and we also understand the importance of all of our law enforcement officers and what they do across the country to keep people safe. The department was formed after the horrific events on 9/11, and just 2 years later, as Congress put the department together with the support of the president, 23 different agencies who had a nexus and a focus on defending the homeland were put in order to make sure that they were all following the same mission every single day. So it's a very diverse department. It not only has FLETC in it that trains over 130 different federal law enforcement agencies and officers from those agencies. It also includes CBP, ICE, CWMD, which is countering weapons of mass destruction. So some of you may have gone through some of those trainings to help us detect some of the threats here in our homeland, and also some of the trainings that it takes as far as responding to fires and 911 calls in different specific situations. We have intelligence agencies.
So it doesn't sound to me like she's talking much about the actual firing here. So we're going to skip ahead off that. The Fox News report right now at foxnews.com, authored by Charles Kreitz, has the report. Kristi Noem, the former South Dakota congresswoman and governor who has led President Donald Trump's Department of Homeland Security thus far in the second term, was ousted from her position on Wednesday. That's today. President Donald Trump announced that he will nominate Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma to replace her. On his Truth Social account, Noem, 54, will likely be at least temporarily replaced by Deputy Secretary Troy Edgar, a Navy veteran and former mayor of Los Alamitos, California, in the line of succession for the agency. Noem's tenure marked a distinct reversal of the open border policies permitted by predecessor Alejandro Mayorkas. Where the hell's that guy?
Gone.
Can we go find that guy?
No, let him stay away from government as far as possible.
I kind of feel like he has some questions to answer.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I want to know what you knew and when you knew it and how you did it, because Mayorkas, you've got blood on your hands. Anyway, tangent. Permitted by predecessor Mayorkas during the Biden administration, and DHS has notched record drug interdictions totaling more than 500,000 pounds of illegal drugs in her first year. Her management of President Donald Trump's mass deportation agenda has also led to more than 2 million reported self-deportations in 2025 and about 670,000 removals of illegal immigrants, a figure supporters have hailed as the most successful immigration enforcement operation in history. Her agency has also been unafraid to hit back at high-profile critics, including California Governor Gavin Newsom, Swalwell, Tim Walz, and 2026 midterm candidate David Trone of Maryland, who accused DHS of, quote, executing people in the streets, psycho, as he filmed a protest ad outside a Williamsport compound recently purchased for use as a detention facility. So Kristi Noem out, President Trump nominating Markwayne Mullin, the senator from Oklahoma, to be in. And we'll follow up on that as news continues to be discussed here. Very interesting development. Didn't see that coming today, of course, with Kristi Noem's testimony in front of Congress. Some dicey moments there. It seems as though Trump is ready to cut bait on that. Kristi Noem will probably land somewhere else. I'm sure he won't leave her out to dry unless there's more to come on this story. But we'll have the news for you as it develops here. When we return, we're going to speak with Senator Eric Schmitt. We're going to ask a little bit about that DHS, the department that the Democrats, they're not funding. It's not like there's any reason to think that the homeland might be insecure right now, while, of course, we are attacking Iran and making sure that the world, including the United States of America, is safe from a lunatic nuclear Iran. When are we going to get DHS funded? Let's put Senator Eric Schmitt in the hot seat and ask him when he thinks that this is going to happen, if it's going to happen. Senator Eric Schmitt in just a couple minutes. Next. The Retirement Advisory Group. You can go online to retirementkey.com. If you have a retirement phase coming up, you're 41 like me, and retirement sounds nice, but I got a lot of years to work before I get there. If you're at that age, late 50s, early 60s, you're going to be thinking transition. Congratulations to you. I know what it's like to work hard and sacrifice. Now you are getting to the place where you're going to get to know what it's like to live off of your hard work and sacrifice. You're going to travel. You're going to go visit the grandkids. You're going to sit at home and do nothing for maybe a week or two, whatever it is that you want. You've worked your tail off for this, but you got to make sure that that transition is handled well. The Retirement Advisory Group would like to earn your business in doing that. Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, and Tammy Kershaw, they're waiting for your phone call. 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. They're waiting for you to reach out to them so you can set up a no-cost, no-obligation review of your retirement. They are your key to a worry-free retirement. And everything you need to know online at retirementkey.com.
Retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
It is Thursday, March 5th. We've got Senator Eric Schmitt coming up next on the Annie Fry Show. It is 1:30. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Fox News National, St. Louis Local, 97.1 FM Talk.
Things that they called for is the abolishment of ICE. Obviously, President Trump would never sign something like this. Can you break the logjam here?
Well, I hope so, but the ball's really in the Democrats' court. And as you point out, Dana, these are agencies that defend the homeland. That's the Department of Homeland Security. It is the Coast Guard. It is the TSA. It is FEMA. It is cybersecurity. The Democrats have made a conscious decision to shut that down. And you know, we're 20 days into this right now. A lot of these people aren't getting paid. We live in a dangerous world. The Democrats they're playing with fire here, and they need to come to the consensus and come to the conclusion that we need to get beyond this and put people back to work, open up these agencies, and let them continue with the mission that they're tasked with.
There's the Senate Majority Leader, Senator John Thune, talking about what's at stake here as the Democrats stand in the way of funding the Department of Homeland Security. Meanwhile, we are bombing the crap out of Iran, and for good reason. What is at stake with this logjam in Congress? Let's bring Senator Eric Schmitt back onto the show with us. Senator, thank you very much for the time today. It's great to have you with us.
Good to be back with you, Annie.
Thank you. You know, you're sitting there, you got a front row seat. The Democrats don't want to fund the security of the homeland, which right now I'm thinking would be a great time to step up and fund. What's going to happen next?
Well, I mean, really, I think Senator Thune hit the nail on the head in that previous clip. The ball is in their court. I mean, Republicans again today voted to do this. We do it every week. We're at a place now where we front-loaded, and I think this is what's kind of crazy about it. This past summer, we front-loaded the money for ICE. So think of detention centers, think of deportations, think of ICE agents. We front-loaded all that. So they're able to do that. But there's a lot of other law enforcement, Secret Service, there's cybersecurity, there's TSA, there's FEMA, there's the Coast Guard. That's also in this funding bill that they're holding up and they're blocking. And it's really, I think, just like this hissy fit, again, with they don't like President Trump. They wanted to defund ICE. And it's just terrible policy. And, you know, we're hearing reports, you know, we had the longest government shutdown a couple of months ago at the hands of the Democrats. There were TSA agents who were sleeping in their cars to save money on gas. Yeah. And now they're going without paychecks again. This whole thing is so stupid. And it is Trump derangement syndrome, Annie. I don't know another way to describe it because it doesn't make any sense. They're not actually accomplishing what they want to accomplish, which is defunding ICE. What they are doing is holding all this other stuff hostage. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's obstructionism. And, you know, I don't mind a little obstructionism here or there. If we were in the minority, I would probably want you to slow the Democrats' roll a little bit as well. But I'm trying to think, you know, if the Democrats were to get what they wanted, it wouldn't even really seem to be that obvious and apparent to the public at this point right now, because as you've mentioned, their nemesis being ICE is already funded. They missed the opportunity to defund that. So how does this end if it does?
Well, basically what they want is in exchange for money for DHS, they want us to kneecap ICE, and we're not going to do it. Like, we're not going to take away the tools ICE needs for deportations, because what they really want, Annie, they put 15 million people in here illegally. They wanted a problem so big that the only answer was mass amnesty. We're not going to do that. So what is the next option for them which is you don't enforce immigration laws, and effectively, de facto, you have amnesty. That's what they really want, but we're not going to do that. I will say, though, that this is not, I mean, you talk about obstruction, whatever. These policy debates have never really, in the history of our country, played out on spending bills like this, right? Like, basically, yeah, you've got We want to do Save America Act. Democrats don't want to do it. We want to do whatever. They don't want to do it. But when you're funding departments like this in fact, a bipartisan negotiated DHS bill that we were about ready to pass, then what happened in Minneapolis happened. The Democrats thought they had some moment here. That's what this is. So again, just like with the previous government shutdown, when you start injecting things that aren't about appropriations, right, into like these other big things, you end up with these government shutdowns. This is a relatively new phenomenon, and the Democrats, they just don't care. Like they literally the arsonists here. And they don't care. And the mainstream media, the legacy media, lets them get away with it.
Yeah.
They just every day, the questions, you'd be shocked, the questions I get up here every day.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit less of an obstruction than it is a hostage situation. And the stakes are really high right now. I want your thoughts and comments on President Trump's, the administration's efforts in Iran. I don't know to what extent you've been briefed on this. The lockstep response from the Democrats is that Trump is willy-nilly just bombing the crap out of Iran with no exit strategy, and now we're in a forever war on day 5 or 6 or whatever it might be. What's your thoughts?
Well, I don't support forever wars in the Middle East, that's for sure. And the President Trump has never, that's not what he's talking about either. This is a limited strike on the, basically, if the idea is, which I agree with President Trump, we should never have a nuclear Iran. Iran should never have a nuclear weapon because the blackmail that would take place, the uncertainty, all that stuff, even for Americans, would be real. So if you accept that proposition, what Iran was attempting to do was build up their missile stockpile to such a degree and their launchers that you couldn't do what you needed to do to make sure Iran never had a nuclear bomb, right? So effectively, they're marching towards that again, and this is an effort to take out those capabilities. That's what President Trump has articulated, a very clear plan of action here. Again, the Democrats are recklessly filing these resolutions that would essentially leave our troops high and dry at a time where missiles are flying over their heads, right? So I think that ultimately the Democrats here have a problem in that they just oppose everything President Trump does. They just do. They're not really rooting for America. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries the other day was talking about America losing, and I just don't. It's pathological at this point. So we want to pray for our troops. There's no doubt about that. And I think that President Trump is intent on doing it decisively, and not interested in a forever war in the Middle East.
Senator Eric Schmitt speaking with us, of course, the United States Senator from Missouri. I think one of the most important lines of many that President Trump delivered during the State of the Union was a very simple line, and it was a pause and a reflection to his right when he said these people are crazy. And you've just made the statement there that they're not rooting for America. If they're not rooting for America, they're rooting against America, and they certainly wouldn't stand for Americans. It's a really dangerous time right now, especially with having Homeland Security not funded. I'm looking for anything. Like, what is the thing that the Democrat Party as a whole and what they stand for, where we can meet in the middle and agree on something? It seems as though the leadership, anywhere you could meet in the middle, they run as fast as they can the other way.
Well, the problem is their parties for a decade now has been defined by their just visceral hatred for Donald Trump, right? In the first term, and then when he's out trying to throw him in jail, now on the second term, that has defined their party. I mean, look, they have ads in Illinois, your home state, where they're talking about F Trump. I mean, It's just like
that's it.
That's the ad. Where are the Harry Trumans and Jack Kennedys? I just don't that you can have a rational conversation about things. So they stand for that, as anti-Trump, but then also, they can't get away from this, this guy in Texas, this Tallarico guy. His posts are coming to light now where he's, this is supposed to be the golden boy, the new Beto, the new Buttigieg, whatever. And he's talking about, abortion care for trans people and talking about, he has to apologize for his whiteness every day. All this just crazy stuff. They just lose people because it is a fringe party now. I would love nothing more than to have a mainstream Democrat Party where you could try to work on some things for the betterment of the country. It's just, I'm telling you, they've been captured by the radical left. And I don't think they've hit rock bottom yet. I think they're still a couple election cycles away, hopefully.
Well, yeah, as President Trump said, these people are crazy, and they keep finding them. That's the amazing thing, and they keep running them, which is even crazier.
Well, and by the way, speaking of which, the State of the Union feels like forever ago, like a year ago. It was like last week. But I also thought it was a really good speech. But the other defining moment there was when he said, "Stand if you believe that the purpose of the government is to protect American citizens, not illegal immigrants." They could not stand for that. And they stood for other stuff. So it's not like they didn't stand for anything. Republicans stood up, Democrats didn't. I think that's a pretty significant fault line that the voters should remember in the fall.
Yeah, but when they tell you who they are, believe them, certainly. Senator Schmitt, I want to talk about the Save America Act. I want to talk about the SAVE Act. A lot of pressure for the SAVE Act to get through, a lot of questions about what that, if you invoked the standing filibuster, what that would actually mean, what it would actually look like, the resolve of the Democrats. Like, maybe it's not as easy as a tweet might explain it to be. I want to know your thoughts on the SAVE Act, and we can talk about the Save America Act as well.
Yeah. So just as far as this, the Save America Act here, we're talking about pretty common sense proposals, which is you got to prove you're a citizen to vote. You got to show an ID to vote. And I think I'd like to add, make sure there's some protections on mail-in balloting so you don't have a bunch of massive fraud, right? Those are all very popular things to do. 70+% of Democrats think that's what we should do. The Democrats here in Washington don't want to do it because they know that they've lost the case of the American people, and they want people who shouldn't be voting. That's the truth. Now, if you get into the weeds about how can we get that done, the talking filibuster is people are kind of think that a filibuster up here means that people actually have to hold the floor. It's like Jimmy Stewart and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. That's not what happens at all. It's just a straight up vote for, you get 60 votes or you don't. I liken it to, I served in the Missouri Senate before I was in statewide office and then before I was here. And if you wanted to hold something up by way of a filibuster, which is something a minority should be able to do in some ways to slow things down in a Senate, that's why you have a bicameral legislature, you had to earn it. Like, you had to speak, and I did it, and I saw it happen too. So, like, you have to earn it. And what this would do, it would say that we would spend the requisite amount of time for all the Democrats to stand up as long as they possibly could, and then at the end of the day, when they're exhausted, we get to a vote. I'm in favor of that. I think that that's consistent with how you would view a minority party's ability to still have a say, and it's not a straight up majority in that way, and that the Democrats still have, in this instance, still have the ability to do it. I think, look, they would have plenty of senators that would stand for 30 hours. Cory Booker, I've seen him. Cory Booker would do it. He's in decent shape. Cory Booker, do it for 20 plus hours. He'd probably have a few of them. But now here's the flip side, Annie. Republicans would have to have the resolve to be here and this is way in the weeds, but you asked the question.
Yeah, interesting.
If they say we note the absence of a quorum. What's a quorum? It's 51 members, okay? Meaning more than 1/2 of the Senate is actually there. They could at any time in that debate note the absence of a quorum, and 51 Republicans would have to say, I'm here. So I say that because it would take an incredible amount of political resolve for us to do it. I'm in favor of it, but we got to make sure that that's actually where 51 people are.
Yeah,
but that's kind of where the rubber meets the road.
I have to ask you before we let you go, Senator Eric Schmitt speaking with us. Big breaking news in the last hour that Kristi Noem is out as DHS secretary. Your colleague, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen from Oklahoma, apparently in as the new nominee. Your comments on Kristi Noem's exit and the likelihood of Mullen's approval and his ability to do the job.
Yeah, look, all the cabinet secretaries serve at the pleasure of the president, right, as the ability to make these decisions. I know Mark Wayne very well. We came into the Senate together along with J.D. Vance and Katie Britt and Pete Ricketts and Ted Budd. And we've remained very close. We still, have dinner frequently all together. Mark Wayne will do a good job. He really will. He cares a lot about the country. He cares about border security. And I got news for the Democrats. What's not going to happen is we're not letting up on deportations. Like, that is a mission of this administration, to understand the tragedies that were left in the wake of 15 million people coming here illegally. Lake and Riley, all these sons and daughters of American citizens who are murdered by illegal immigrants, we're going to deport them. And Mark Wayne Mullen will be on board with that agenda. So I would think he's got a very good chance of being confirmed. I mean, he's obviously one of our colleagues, and he's very well liked. So in President Trump's pick. So, that'll play out over the next, several weeks here.
Last question. Who would win in a fight? You're a big, strong guy, Mark Wayne Mullen. He's had a fight before. If you guys had to rumble, is Mark Wayne taking you, or are you taking him?
No. We've had this. We've had this discussion. I've got the reach, so I take the 6'6" guy.
All right. Senator Eric Schmitt over Mullen over Kristi Noem. Totally different things. Thank you so much, Senator. It's always great to have you with us.
All right, Andy. Take care.
Bye bye. That's the headline for the day. Senator Schmitt has the reach, which is that matters in a fight for sure. I'd kind of pay to see that for some sort of charity. I wonder what we could get them to do. Another thing, Mark Teixeira winning his primary to be in Congress, and a lot of people are super pumped about the congressional baseball game, especially the Republicans, because is there a limit on when I don't know if like, can Teixeira just pitch the whole game? I know he can. Will they let him? I'm pumped to see it. Let's take a break. When we come back, Ryan Wiggins back in studio with us. The YouTube live chat poll related to nothing at all but everything, because we're all dealing with it all the time. Should smoking marijuana be made illegal again? Yes or no? I'm not talking about all pot. I'm not talking about all medicinals. I'm talking about the smoking of the joint. I should have said in public, but I didn't. So just in general, smoking pot, are we tired of it yet? Is it a public nuisance to the place where, get it out of here? Yes or no? Annie Fry YouTube channel, go vote in the live chat poll. Text us at 314-241-9797. Back in a minute. Civia Law, S-I-V-I-A, CiviaLaw.com is the website. Tad Civia is located offices in Missouri and Illinois. He's got a whole bunch of them. 7 locations of the Civia Law firm. Just waiting for you to go to the one most conveniently located near you to talk about those life transitions that are difficult but important to plan for. That's where you hire an expert, and Todd Civia is the expert. Civia Law helped my husband and I establish our trust, and I encourage you to put your trust into Civia Law as well for your needs. In Illinois, you can visit him in his Edwardsville office. That's where we went. East Alton, Swansea, Centralia, and Mount Vernon. In Missouri, he has an office in Wentzville and in Creve Coeur. So if you're interested in making an estate plan, if you have questions, you got to drop my name when you call this number that I'm about to give you, because when you mention Annie, the first 10 callers right now, your strategy session, that's the first meeting you have with them, free. That's a $300 value when you add the name Annie. When you call to book, you don't pay that $300. Here's the number, 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, online at CiviaLaw.com.
This month, 97.1 FM Talk in Action spotlights Helmets First, a nonprofit promoting kids' safety through free bike helmets, education, and partnerships with local police. Officers help fit helmets and connect with kids in the community. Learn how you can help at helmetsfirst.com.
Did you know replacing old vinyl windows with more vinyl windows might not be the best choice? Hi, it's Kim, and I'm here to tell you about Infinity from Marvin Windows, because these fiberglass windows, they're energy efficient, they're beautiful, and they're custom built to fit your home perfectly. The team at Lakeside Renovation and Design just makes the process so easy. I love the fact that they even offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Look, if you're tired of drafts, high energy bills, or maybe hard to open windows, now's the time to upgrade. Visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free consultation today.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Dreaming of college but worried about the cost? The Together Foundation is here to help. The Together Foundation is awarding 5 $1,500 scholarships to St. Louis area students who are ready to take the next step toward their future. Applying is simple, but time is limited, as applications will be accepted through March 31st. Learn more or apply at togethercu.org/scholarship. That's togethercu.org/scholarship. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
This is Madison County Clerk Linda Andreas. I believe in protecting our elections because every legal vote matters. I fully support the SAVE Act, which requires photo ID in our elections. And I am proud to be endorsed by all of our countywide Republican elected officials. I'm asking for your vote in the March 17th Republican primary.
Paid for by Citizens for Andreas.
The Annie Fry Show is St. Louis conservative.
Well, the big news of the day, if you are just tuning in to us here on the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk or streaming on the Odyssey app, we love having folks take us with you on your phone or whatever you're listening to. Kristi Noem out as DHS secretary, and President Trump has now nominated Senator Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma. We just had Senator Eric Schmitt, of course, here from the wonderful state of Missouri on, and he talked about it, said he thinks Mullen will do a fantastic job. And he didn't take any opportunity to trash Noem and say anything negative about her, but he said when you're in the cabinet, you serve at the pleasure of the president, and the president's pleasure was now elsewhere.
Kristi Noem will be the special envoy for the Shield of the Americas.
I think it's a great idea. Perfect place for it. It's what I would have done.
Also, we will no longer see Kristi Noem in airports. It will be Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, actually DHS Secretary.
I wonder how pumped people are for that work in the airports that hate her. I mean, I've gone to several different airports, and you show up and it's somebody who you're not, you see them on the national news, but then you're like, oh yeah, I'm in this state now, I'm dealing with that or whatever. You go to Chicago and Brandon Johnson's welcoming you, and you're like, shut up, man.
No, it's funny.
Just a video. And if you're working there, he's saying the same gosh darn thing every day over and over and over again. We had a comment from Quick Rick, and he said he wondered if Pam Bondi was next. I would feel the same about the replacement of Pam Bondi as I do right now.
Yeah.
I'm not like waiting. I'm not checking the news all the time to see if we're a little bit closer. But while I think that the job that they've been doing is maybe at best sufficient, gosh, there's so much more that could be being done right now, and I'm just ready for it. And every day that passes is a day where I wish we would have done a little bit more.
Yeah, it's been a little confusing, and maybe it still will be, knowing who's in charge of immigration enforcement, ICE, because Kristi Noem and Tom Homan have both kind of taken different roles, but they're the same-ish role.
No, she's in charge of a lot more than what he's got a much more tailored,
more narrow focus.
Yes, I mean he's the guy who's supposed to direct the deportations, but the Department of Homeland Security is much broader than that. So Kristi Noem's job is much larger. And, I think it's like the sage wisdom of Donald Trump with putting Tom Homan as the czar that he is, squarely where he needs to be so he can be as efficient and effective as one could possibly be at what they're really good at. The Noem position is a political position. And, if you get pretty close to this, pretty soon you realize that the politicians don't really do much. They're kind of the connection between the policy makers, the people who are driving policy, they're, lobbyists and advocates and those constituents even from a grassroots movement who try to persuade the people who actually pass the laws to get the job done in the right way. But the politicians, they're like, it sounds like it's a pejorative. It's not. They're the ones who have to communicate to the American people what's going on and then listen to the American people and bring it back and have a discussion with all the other people making those representations. Holman's not there for politics at all. He's just there to get the job done. There's a policy that's been passed. There's a law that is there. His job is to get it done. Noem's job is to be a kind of a mouthpiece for the people, back to the people, so that everyone understands what's going on. And I don't think she had the people. And
that's really what I was getting at, is that she didn't really do a great job of being that mouthpiece, that communicator. Whereas Tom Homan actually is, even if that's not supposed to be his ultimate job, he is good at that. He is good at going into hostile territory media and delivering the facts. I think Mark Wayne Mullen will be too.
I don't think that Homan is good at it because he's good politics. I think he's good at it because it doesn't matter what anyone else does, says, or thinks. He has so much resolve in what he is there for that when he doesn't go there trying to earn anybody's opinion, he doesn't really act like he's trying to. So it never looks thirsty. It always looks like, all right, here's the way it is. Bye. I got to see Tom Homan in the press room when I was there. I
didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, he addressed the media.
I don't think I remember that.
Yeah, it was the 100 days. And the first day was Scott Bessent and the second day was Tom Homan.
I remember Scott Bessent. I forgot about Tom Homan. That's cool.
It was pretty wild. And he was telling stories about in his time working with immigration enforcement that he personally had viewed some incredibly devastating things that our current system had caused to be, and he was ready to make those things stop. His resolve is pure. That is 100% sure. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
president makes a big change on Lisa Brady. Kristi Noem is no longer the head of Homeland Security. President Trump ousting her as secretary, with one official telling Fox it's due to a combination of leadership failures, including her handling of public statements after ICE operations in Minnesota led to the deaths of 2 Americans.
Also, this ad campaign that was, cost $220 million, featured her on horseback at Mount Rushmore, and she claimed under questioning in Senate hearings this week that the president had authorized that. Apparently he didn't. And then also the rumored affair with her advisor. All of those things together apparently were the tipping point for the president on the need to move on.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. The president's giving Noem a new role as a special envoy and replaced her as DHS secretary, tapping Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, who just told reporters he's excited and humbled.
It's just, pretty humbling when you start thinking about it. A little kid from Westville, Oklahoma, gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat.
He will need Senate confirmation. President Trump wants to play a role in choosing Iran's new leader.
The president says he won't accept a new leader in Iran who will continue Ayatollah Khamenei's policies and force another war in 5 years. In an interview with Axios, President Trump says Khamenei's son, a likely successor, is a lightweight and unacceptable. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells me the president is talking with advisors about a post-war Iran.
But again, right now, the focus, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, is on ensuring the quick and effective success of Operation Epic Fury.
Senior administration officials still say the objectives of the operation do not include regime change.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. More than 20 states are now suing over new Trump global tariffs announced after the Supreme Court struck down emergency tariffs. America is listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-515-1771. That's 800-515-1771. 800-515-1771.
Oh, well, it's not quite 420 yet, but we're talking about marijuana on the show today a little bit, among a whole bunch of other things that we've had with a great lineup with Senator Eric Schmitt, who just joined us about 35 minutes ago, Congressman Bost at the beginning of the 1 o'clock hour, and Hans von Spakovsky talking a lot about the War Powers vote that was supposed to take place yesterday. The Senate said, we're going to let Trump do what Trump's doing for right now. So lots to discuss on the show so far. Check the Annie Fry Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. The poll question for today, though, is should smoking marijuana be made illegal again? What are some places that you encounter pot smoke where it's offensive to you?
Gas stations, grocery stores.
Outside,
inside,
upside,
driving, on a roof.
Downside.
In the workplace, anywhere. I hate it.
Brad?
Yeah, just the other day, Terry and I went to see a movie at the O'Fallon Theater, and some people sat in front of us, and they just absolutely reeked of pot.
They weren't smoking. They just had been.
They smoked and walked into the theater. At least this is what it smelled like. They smoked, walked into the theater, and sat down right in front of us, and it just filled. It was a kids' movie, and it filled the whole theater with pot smell.
What'd you see?
Zootopia 2.
Would it have been funnier high?
Is it everything?
Did they have a good time?
Yeah.
I don't know, Brad. We don't smoke pot, but we'll take your word for it.
Isn't that the joke?
Were those people cracking up the whole time?
No, they were just quiet the whole time. And then every so often, it's like they knew they would spray themselves with perfume, and it's like, okay, now you smell like cheap perfume and pot, and that doesn't help.
It's like if somebody wrecks a bathroom, it's like, psh, psh. It's like, no, now it just smells like flowery wreck.
I always thought a good band name would be Paint the Bowl.
Ew.
I was heartened by the New York Times basically admitting they were wrong, admitting that they had downplayed the harms for too long. And this was really a case where I think the editorial board actually listened to their own investigative reporters. There have been numerous investigative reports by the Times showing how dangerous today's marijuana is. The link mainly to psychosis, schizophrenia, the mental health link is stronger than with any other drug. Where they got it wrong is I think, they're very institutionally tied to the idea of legalization. So I think they had to sort of say, well, but we're still in favor of legalization, just it has to be done better. We need to regulate it better. We've shown over the last 10 years that we have not been, we can't regulate this better. This is a drug that is used by foreign criminal cartels to make money still. We have a huge underground market still. There are lobbyists and very powerful interests pushing this. So, I think they got it right overall on admitting they were wrong about the harms, but on the policy, just legalization's not working.
That legalization is not working is a drug policy expert, Kevin Sabay. This video that we were playing is funny because AI obviously did it and they didn't watch it because for half the time it looks like somebody was high when they made the video. I just find that to be kind of funny because half the time the video is not anybody. It's just
I missed that.
You can.
I looked away.
Podcast the show on the YouTube page. I think it's an under-discussed point about the legalization of all of this, that what people are using today recreationally when it comes to marijuana is not the same thing that our parents were toking up in the 60s and 70s. I heard that they did that. I don't know. My parents, we did not.
My parents also did not do that. Brad's parents, we don't know.
Well, Brad's got to get it from somewhere.
He didn't chime in.
I don't know. I'm not exposed to any of this stuff. I've never been involved in it, but everybody is talking about how the potency of what is being utilized right now, and also potentially the I'll use the phrase cross-contamination of what could possibly be in it. The idea that, you're going to regulate it and then we're going to tax it, and then it costs so gosh darn much that people are like, okay, but we're still going to go in the black market to get our weed. Oh man. This is like a whole cultural thing, but our culture is we're just slobs.
Yeah.
That kind of sums it up. The way we look, the way we talk, the way we interact with one another. It's just so disappointing on the whole.
Yeah, there's not a lot of formality to anything. There's very little that you could say, oh yeah, that's something where people get dressed up for.
Which I would like to think, I think the pendulum's always moving. I don't think it's ever going to be stagnant. I would think that there would be a large enough contingent of people growing up that would just be kind of repelled and offended by the weed smell. I actually think, I'm not advocating for any sort. I don't want my kids to be involved with anything that has to do with marijuana and pot. Everybody has their own choice, whatever. I'm not. But I actually think it would probably serve the weed community better if the smoking contingent was pulled out of it. Mm-hmm. Because now you're making it my business. I don't know if you're using gummies to try to chill out and relax and go to sleep. I don't know if you're out there using medicinal marijuana to make your joints feel better. I don't give a crap what you're doing if you're trying to ease the pain and the burden of cancer. None of that bothers me. It's not my business. It's not something that I want to regulate. But when I'm driving down the highway and I'm getting, accosted by your puff of smoke coming out of your vehicle, that's illegal. You're not supposed to be doing it. But now it's like now this is a thing that you're doing that is affecting me, which is why it's illegal. And if I'm walking through Walmart, if you're sitting in Zootopia 2 and you're trying to watch a movie, and now it's a me problem. You could have kept it a you problem, but now you've made it a me problem. And I've tried to be super chill, man, about the whole pot marijuana thing because I think that alcohol is as dangerous as marijuana, but maybe not anymore because I hear other people saying that, like, yes, that was a true statement at one point, but what marijuana, especially like ingesting it via like a joint or whatever, which I guess would be like, okay, anyway.
Or like a pinch hitter.
Huh?
Or a pipe.
If you're taking it in that way, it's just something that is not just a you thing. And if it's I don't want to be intrusive on how other people live their life, but you guys don't give an flying fudge brownie about being intrusive on my life. So like if everywhere I go I've got to deal with this, I just think that if enough people have been just trying to literally hold their breath over being accosted by this experience all of the time, it's like what you do is fine, but you're making it my problem. I think there are enough people right now that it's like it is a public nuisance. And if it's a public nuisance, Mark Anderson said, as a cigarette smoker, I really do not care. I would much rather smell cigarette smoke than a joint.
I would too.
And I smell cigarette smoke so infrequently that when I do smell it, it kind of makes me think of my youth being in the bar. So I kind of like it, but just like
it's not as thick. It doesn't stay as long. It doesn't seem to me anyway.
It doesn't smell rotten. It smells like smoke or something like that. But it's the stench of a joint is just lit.
We talk a lot on this show about having deliberate conversations with your kids about hard things, about how to use the internet, about what could happen, about all the different things in life that you need to have a deliberate conversation about. The weed conversation is not one that I even sought out. It just happens over and over and over with my kids. And you know why? Because they're constantly smelling it and asking me questions about drugs now. So while I don't necessarily want to have that conversation as often as we are, I guess it's good that we are. But it just drives me crazy how often we smell it. My whole point in saying that is just how often it's smelled by everybody.
I will add as a parent, though, that the stench of it is doing wonders on me not having to really convince my kids not to partake.
Me too.
They're so offended by it. They're so disgusted by its ever-presence. And I've made this comment before, too. My kids don't know that skunks smell like skunk. They only think it's weed. It's so prevalent that we were driving down, gosh, it was like 3 days ago. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, and everyone's going, what's this weed smells so bad? And then we got a little bit further and Sarah and I are like, that's a skunk. Because it was just a little extra sour and it was lasting just the right amount of time. And we could discern, and the kids are like, how can you tell the difference? Okay, it's weed and it'll kill you. I don't know. I know it won't, but maybe.
See that skunk on the side of the road right there we just passed? It was high. That's how I know.
It was smoking dope. And look at it now.
Look at it. It's dead. Let's take this comment right here.
I'm gonna do that from now on. All those skunks, you know why they smell like that? Because they're high.
TJ says, I take a libertarian position on pot. If it's not in public and it doesn't affect me, I don't care. That's the point of what we're saying.
It's
everywhere. Is affecting us now.
Yes.
Being a libertarian on this, great idea. Not practical. It ain't happening. It's in your face all the time.
Answer the question. Should smoking marijuana be made illegal again?
Heck yes. I was an absolute yes when I walked into the studio today.
Not even like if I would have added, should smoking marijuana in public be made illegal again?
No, I was yes to this.
Is
regardless.
anything legal in private? I guess like nudity.
Yes.
Like I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think about. Why is it so funny?
I don't know.
I don't understand what I'm trying to think of things that you can legally do in private that you can't legally do in public, and like indecency is the thing that I can think of. Like you can do things in private that aren't illegal behaviors, but you have to keep it to yourself. And like any type of sexual anything is obviously one of those, or indecent exposure. Public urination, like you have to do that in private. So is it indecent? Because it is indecent. It's indecent to be stinking up the place everywhere you go. And I don't even really care about the effects of the marijuana on the person so much. I do if you're driving a car.
Yeah.
But, like, if you want to walk around and be stoned, I think that's stupid. But if I don't smell you, I'm probably not even paying attention enough to know what's happening. And I just might think you're dumb.
I get the libertarian argument. I do. Because I don't want to affect your freedom. You have your freedom. If you want to go do that, and it really isn't affecting me at all. The trouble is, are we in a society that we go, you know what would be great is if more people did drugs? Because that's the ultimate outcome
Are there
of
people who
legalizing
think
this
we would be a chiller society if we did?
I'm sure there are.
They're all high.
Another thing you can do legally on your own property, but you can't do publicly.
This is going to be great.
Drive around in a golf cart or a sweet ATV. You can't do that on the road.
But it doesn't have to be private.
Well, I guess it doesn't have to be. You have to be on private property. You can't just do it on.
Not in Hamel, man. They
fair.
drive their lawnmowers to and fro.
Oh, okay.
I love it.
Maybe they're all high.
Hi, Hamel. They're not.
Hi, Hamel.
Hamel. I want to know people's thoughts on this. Text 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. We're talking about the smoking of the dope. Not just marijuana as a whole. It's a different conversation that we could have another time. I also want to know in the text line, because this was the original poll, and I thought, too narrow, Annie. I want to know what you're going to do if you are driving down the highway. Like, what is your reaction to seeing somebody getting high while they're driving a car? Are you minding your own business? Are you, like, gesturing in all of the ways that Ryan was suggesting earlier? Or are you calling the police? I'd be curious how many people are calling the police. Are you calling the police?
No, I never have. I've never called the police. I do very much like casting an angry glare.
Do you feel like a man?
Mm-hmm.
Feel powerful when you do that?
Yeah.
What do you think that person who's high driving their car thinks about you?
They're afraid because they're afraid of everything. If I just beat my chest a little bit, like, I'm coming for you.
You got to have two hands on the wheel if you want to be a safe driver.
Usually,
they're going to put their hands at 10 and 2 and look at you back like, 10 and 2, man.
Usually you're at a stoplight. You got to look over at a stoplight. That's the way to do it. Otherwise, they're not going to notice you at all.
They're not going to notice you at all. That's the thing. I don't think it's effective. I think it just asks for trouble. Let us know. 314-241-9797. Ethan Sports and Local next.
Mark Cox here. Join me Saturday from 11 to 1 for the grand opening of Apache Village RV's newest location in O'Fallon, Missouri. We'll have food trucks, live music, and a bouncy house for the kids. Find your perfect RV at AVRV in O'Fallon, AVRV.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDRURYLaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then, we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. Matt Hayes is taking some phone calls right now because the rain's coming down and he knows that it's coming in to your basement and you need it to be fixed. You got to go with somebody you can trust, and I want to encourage you to give Matt Hayes the opportunity to earn your business. He has done so time and time again with St. Louisans just like you in Missouri, in Illinois alike. Home Shield Foundation Repair, they know how to solve your wet basement problem. You see a little bit of water coming in, you see a ton of water coming in. You want a guy who can take care of the problem right the first time. It's not going to, rake you over the coals. Great customer service, but ultimately the solution to your problem that you need. 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Reach out to Matt Hayes today. Tell him Annie Fry sent you and ask him to come look at your wet basement concern right away. way. He's got a lifetime warranty on that basement waterproofing for you. So all you got to do is call him and tell him what you're dealing with. He'll come look at it and you'll be good to go. 314-271-9900, Home Shield Foundation, repairs.com.
Law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities.
Opponents of this law are preying upon fear of change to lie and fearmonger.
JB and BJ are the liars and the fearmongers. They are the sickness that is killing Illinois and Illinoisans. They give sanctuary to foreign predators and sanction to domestic repeat offenders while vilifying the police. A Cook County study found 74% of criminal defendants failed to show up to court after being released under Pritzker's Safety Act. Listen to this suburban police chief.
I don't call it the Safety Act. I call it the Unsafety Act because that's what it is. I'm still waiting for somebody to explain to me where does safety come in. Who are we keeping safe here when you call it the Safety Act?
Not you. I will repeal Pritzker's purge law and end JB and BJ's killing spree before it hits you. I'm Ted Dabrowski, your conservative candidate for governor, and I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary on March 17th. Paid for by Ted for Illinois.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
This season, step up to the ultimate game day experience with Cardinals all-inclusive tickets. Enjoy a full buffet, complimentary bar, and unbeatable views inside Busch Stadium. It's great food with great company for every pitch, hit, and home run. Choose your experience in the Budweiser 703 Club, UMB Champions Club, Proficient Red Jacket Club, and more. See the game like a VIP with all-inclusive tickets. On sale now at cardinals.com/tickets.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Check it out. Sports and local.
And now, Ethan delivers the news in falsetto.
Have you ever actually tried to
Sports and local?
That's great.
Did you like that?
Yeah, you've never actually done it.
Some year 2000 vibes right there.
That did sound like year 2000. You a Conan fan, Redhead?
The year I was born. Hey, easy. That's the year I was born, though. 2000.
Oh, in the year 2000. Yeah. Ethan was created.
I don't know if that's the year he was created.
Well, I'm September, so I mean,
yeah,
maybe
probably.
New Year's baby,
probably
New Year's baby. There was some celebratory stuff going on, I guess, for the new.
Can you believe it's year 2000? What should we do tonight? Let's make Ethan.
The computers didn't shut off. We're great.
Oh man, the St. Louis Blues were celebrating last night because they won another hockey game.
Yay!
They defeated the Seattle Kraken 3-2 in what was their final game before the upcoming trade deadline. Dylan Holloway scored the go-ahead goal in the second period. Braden Shen had 3 assists as well. And then Robert Thomas also added a goal and an assist. So the Blues now improved to 9-17-3 on the road.
9-17-3.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
No.
Well, they had at one point like an 11-game losing streak on the road that just ended actually last week. So we know all about how rough of a year it's been for the Blues. But they start winning at the worst time, right when I want them to start losing. It's like they flipped.
Do they still have a shot? And I'm talking mathematically here.
Mathematically, yes. There is approximately 20 games left, and they'd have to probably win 18 of them. I mean, it would have to be an all-timer run.
Last season was kind of like that, though.
Last year was epic. This would be even crazier than last year.
They're not even thinking that way right now because they're looking to sell players.
No,
right.
They are looking to sell players. Excellent transition, Bradley. Greatly appreciated. They almost traded Colton Parayko, their one of their best defensemen yesterday. He was actually, a trade was accepted between the Blues and the Buffalo Sabres, which allegedly would have sent one of the Sabres' top prospects back to us, as well as a 2026 first-round draft pick, and then potentially some other stuff. However, Parayko had a no-trade clause, and when this deal, when this came about yesterday, there was a lot of waiting. Okay, is he going to accept it? Is he not going to accept it? Well, this morning, mid-morning, it was announced that he had declined to waive his no-trade clause. So Colton Parayko is still a St. Louis Blue. And listen, a lot of players in the NHL, it's probably close to 50% of players in the NHL that enter free agency get no trade clauses on their contracts, but most of them are willing to move or to waive them. It's more so just so they have a little bit of control as to where they go. Exactly. This is now twice in the last, I think, 3 years that the Blues have had 2 no trade clauses decline to be waived. Torrey Krug did it a couple years ago, and now Colton Parayko as well.
Are we honored by that?
I don't. Here's what I will say is that people like St. Louis. I don't know what it is, but especially Blues fans or Blues players and alumni, they like the area and they like sticking around. Colton Parayko is, I think, around 20 games from breaking the record for most games played in Blues history by a defenseman. He's, I think, 150 away from breaking the all-time record for any Blues player. He has 4 years left on his contract still, so I think he probably wants to retire here. We'll see if the Blues are able to find a suitor that he would be willing to go to. But so in a way, it is, I think, a compliment to St. Louis and the Blues and the what they have built here over the long term. But certainly for the now, I guess it is unfortunate that they weren't able to get the deal done. The trade deadline is Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time, so we'll see if the Blues end up making any moves before the deadline goes into effect. St. Louis Billikens last night played their senior night at Chaifetz Arena. The 25th ranked team in the country defeated Loyola Chicago by a final score of 79-65, and as a result, they also clinched the top seed in the Atlantic 10 tournament, which is going to begin, I believe, this upcoming. It's going to be early next week that it starts.
Is Arch Madness this weekend?
Arch Madness, I believe, does start this weekend. That is coming up, and that is the Missouri Valley Conference tournament that is played at the Enterprise Center every single year.
I'm alumni. SIUC.
That you are. You going to go watch your Salukis, Ryan?
I really want to. I've never done it here. I watched them a lot when I was going to school there, but I've never come, even though it's in our backyard, I've never gone to a game here.
Well, you know what? Sound like a pretty terrible fan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It is next week that the Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament starts because the regular season schedule ends this weekend. They face off against George Mason on Saturday afternoon. So pretty exciting. It's been a great season of Billikens basketball, one of the best in the team's history. And we'll see if they can close it out with a good conference tournament here. We'll obviously be sharing all the latest on Ethan's Sports and Local, or whatever falsetto thing it was called today. 27-3 record for the Billikens up to this point. Six Flags is selling 7 of its properties, including Six Flags St. Louis. They announced on Thursday that it'll be selling multiple properties to EPR Properties. The list of parks being sold includes Michigan's Adventure, which is in Grand Rapids, Schlitterbaum Water Park, Galveston, Six Flags Great Escape in Queensboro, New York, Six Flags La Ronde in Montreal, Six Flags St. Louis, of course, Valley Fair, which is in Minneapolis, and then Worlds of Fun in Kansas City, Missouri. The parent company said the sale is intended to strengthen the remaining parks in its portfolio. In a press release, the company said this acts as a way to concentrate on the Six Flags parks with the greatest potential for innovation, expansion, and elevated guest experiences.
I do not view this as a bad thing. I know people are a little bit afraid about Six Flags St. Louis because everybody's got a lot of memories there. But if they can get a new company, which apparently they already have, is coming in and buying these 7 parks, I don't think that means they're closing them. That probably means they're going to invest further in them and maybe even upgrade things. I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating here, but I don't view this as bad news.
I know you're a big Disney Parks fan. I know Annie is as well. Do you do the Six Flags every year with the family or anything anymore? Or do you really stick to Disney at this point?
No, I don't. I haven't been to Six Flags since high school.
I go about every other year.
Okay.
I can't say every year.
I don't go to other amusement parks really. I'm probably the same. I haven't been in a few years, but we used to go almost every year growing up.
Yeah.
Is it compared to other parks of that caliber? Is it bad? Is it okay? Where does it kind of fall?
It's just it's okay.
I used to have season passes, and we would go in the middle of the week in the summer, and it was great. Especially whenever the attendance was down, you could go on everything. It's not like it was a dump or anything like that. The rides were fun, all of that fun stuff. So, yeah, it was a
Technology's just moved to where rides are different now than they were 10, even 20 years ago. And there's just a lot of things you can do with rides now that you couldn't do because of tech. And that's why I'm hoping this new company comes in.
It just hasn't caught up. It's a lot of old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Well, for Six Flags St. Louis, the park will run as normal through the 2026 season, including honoring season pass holders, active memberships, multi-park passes. It says even in the release, Six Flags, they noted that EPR has experience with theme parks, stating, "We are confident in the future of these parks under the care of EPR and its operating partners, who have strong experience managing parks of this scale. Any changes in 2027 will be determined by the new owners," according to Six Flags.
All good?
Depends. Do you want more, Annie?
Well, we do have Trisha coming in for Annie, Are You Okay? At 2:30. So let's take a break here and get her in here. The YouTube live chat poll, should smoking marijuana be made illegal? Yes or no? Go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and vote. You go to youtube.com/@AnnieFry. Find the live broadcast, vote in the poll that's live right there. You can also text us your thoughts about smoking marijuana and the public nuisance that I at least advocate that it is. Quick Rick says, "I think if you smell it, you're breathing it." Eyes Wide Open said, "Does anyone smell the scent of the wonderful cigarette anymore? As an ex-cig smoker, I do. Can we make cigarettes illegal?" Probably not. All right, let's take a quick break. Trisha in for Annie, Are You Okay? Next.
Are you looking for a podcast about pro football that doesn't put you to sleep with an avalanche of analytics or insult your fandom with brainless hot takes? Well, hi. I'm Dan Hansis.
And I'm Mark Sessler.
Oh, hi, Mark. And we're the hosts of Heed the Call, the NFL podcast you've been waiting your whole life for.
Heed the Call covers every game, every storyline, everything that matters, and we do it all with a touch of mirth.
Football is fun. Why shouldn't your football podcast be the same?
Follow and listen to Heed the Call NFL podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
When you get hurt, you don't want to end up on the injured list. You want to get back in the game, stronger than ever. At Morgan & Morgan, we're the home run hitters you need. Morgan & Morgan, proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The YouTube live chat poll is, should smoking marijuana be made illegal again? Keep in mind what we're asking there. Should smoking marijuana be made illegal again? It's a yes or no, but man, lots and lots of people weighing in on this one. You can always do as well. You can leave a comment on our live stream, or you can text in 314-241-9797. It is 2:34. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up. JerryKelly.com.
97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
And now it's time to play Is Annie Okay With This?
Trisha, hello.
Hi, Annie and crew.
Hi, Trisha.
How we doing today?
Great. How are you?
Good.
The Thursday, kind of rainy.
Yeah.
What could be better?
No, it's great. Everything's
This all
great.
sounds really sincere.
Super great. Everything's great. Missing Florida man found stuck in mud without food or water for days. Authorities have found a Florida man who went missing on Valentine's Day. Nice. Andrew Giddens was located alive at the Vulcan Materials Company, caught in a thick substance that made it impossible for him to move. They likened it to quicksand. He'd been there for days without food or water. Authorities spotted his vehicle on the road near the plant. Working with plant employees, they searched the area. They found him. It took 3 hours to get him out. Once they freed him, they rushed him to the hospital where doctors expect him to make a full recovery.
So he's fine. He's alive. They found him. He was up to his chest in quick mud.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
exactly right.
For how long?
For 3
Days.
days.
Holy cow.
Days this man was in there.
That wasn't just mud.
Yeah, he was trespassing and got stuck.
Oh.
So nobody knew to look for him there. But they reported him missing on Valentine's Day. How many? That was 3 weeks ago. He was there for a while. He was gone for a while. Annie, are you okay with quicksand?
Yeah, super pumped about it.
Love it. Love it.
My favorite kind of sand. There's kinetic sand, but then the quicksand, it really takes care of some problems for you.
Me, I like beach sand better myself.
Let me interest you in some quicksand.
I'm listening. No sounder? No.
Wasn't funny enough.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do better. Japanese coffin therapy is growing in popularity.
Yes, super pumped about this one.
In Japan, a wellness practice known as coffin therapy has grown from a small funeral home experiment into a national trend. The idea is simple. People lie inside a coffin for a short period of time to reflect on life and mortality.
Yeah, that's what we need, is someone to remind us that we're going to die. You can't get away from that in life as it is right now. What if we tried a coffin? That's ridiculous.
It's big in spas over there right now. The coffin can either be open or closed.
That's a really good way to sell some like rejuvenating procedures. Like first, let me show you this coffin, and if you'd like to not look like death, I'll show you the next room and the next room and the next room.
I would think coming up out of the coffin would be very exciting and probably move a lot of product. Because you'd go, oh, yeah, I'm still alive. And then you just, like, I don't care about, I'm going to buy all this natural oil stuff.
Okay. You want to hit the sounder? Yeah, she didn't finish the segment, or the question story yet, but.
I was just wondering if you're okay with coffin therapy.
No, not really.
Okay.
I don't need anything that has to do with coffins until I need the coffin.
All
Coffee,
right.
on the other hand, big fan.
Yeah, there we go.
New phone allows pets to call you.
Ah.
A company called uCloudlink recently unveiled a new device called Pet Phone. It's the industry's first wearable smartphone for pets with two-way calling. Owners and pets
Owned 100% by Democrat women.
Hang on a
With their
second.
cats.
I got to take this. My turtle's on the phone.
Owners and pets can speak directly through the Pet Phone to soothe separation anxiety. Pet phones are supported by AI wellness monitoring.
It only breeds separation anxiety. It's only going to make it worse.
Well,
we're never apart. I can always reach my owner. So, which one's the pet in this relationship?
And which one's dialing?
It says two-way calling, so I don't know if your dog can get a hold of you or if you have to call your dog. Unclear, but the device only is under $100 before a data plan of like $10 a month. So they should be available soon if you guys want to try it.
Listening to this,
I think this is a great idea for leaving meetings early.
Gotta go.
Shoot.
Gotta take this.
It's an emergency.
This is my dog.
It's my actual dog.
Anxiety. He needs me.
Oh, Annie, are you okay with pet phones?
No. But I don't want to say anything else about it because I don't want to offend anybody who's listening, like Terry. Brad sounded a little concerned that there might be a pet phone in his future.
Well, she's talked about it in the past. It wasn't a wearable one, but it was like one that would sit in the corner. And she's like, the dog can step on it and it can call you, or you can call the dog, and then you can press a button and give it a treat. And I was like, that's the end. If you give it a treat, that dog's going to be on that thing
The
all
dog
the time.
is training you.
Yeah, that dog's calling you every couple minutes.
This isn't.
Yeah.
We
We have that conversation as well.
Woo. Hey, listen. In America, go for it. Not my problem. I'm more interested in stopping people from blowing weed smoke in my face. You do what you do with your pet phone.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
All right. 17 bowling balls weighing 255 pounds stolen from pro bowler's porch. An alleged thief snagged the equipment estimated to cost $4,500 from a front porch in Denver. The balls belong to Stephen Gallegos, a professional bowler who has spent 42 years in the sport.
Seems kind of weird. Where do you keep your balls, Ryan?
Which ones?
Your
Can you be more specific?
I would prefer not to be.
Just any.
See what kind of high road you're capable of taking.
I would say mostly in the garage. Depends on if
where a
the
man
kid-
belongs.
Depends on if anybody's been playing with them. Sometimes they end up in the yard.
Collecting dust.
Okay, well, this guy left
How
his...
heavy were they?
How heavy were they?
Oh, 255 pounds.
That's some stones right there.
Yeah. That's some big ones. Big heavy
They're
ones.
so big you got to put them on the porch. What? I'm always looking for like the lightest bowling ball I could possibly find that will still allow my big man hands to
squeeze in the little holes.
It's just,
You got big hands, do you?
Yeah, I have huge hands.
This hasn't come up yet.
I bet my hands are bigger than yours.
I bet they are not, because my fingers are long.
Okay, well, this guy left.
Well, in that as if you couldn't have long fingers.
What I'm trying to say
but
is
ridiculously small hands.
the hand itself isn't huge, but I just have long, gangly
Your fingers are part of your hand.
I know, but it's the finger that gives me the width. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'll give you the finger.
This isn't even. This isn't good radio. I'm just telling you the facts about my
It
hands.
never is. Sorry, Trisha. Go on.
It's okay. Are you okay with bowling?
No, I'm actually not. I'm actually I don't like bowling. Bowling is one of those things that should be easily accessible, athletic fun for has-beens.
Interesting.
And it's you have to be talented in order to do it well, and I am not willing to put in the commitment to learn that, and I want to be naturally good at it, and I am not, and so I just get frustrated. I like going to hang out with people who like to bowl and sit and hang out and have a drink and just chill with those people.
You like bowlers, not bowling.
I like the atmosphere. I don't need to be the bowler. Jared's really good at bowling. Super annoying.
That is annoying.
It's so
right when you
annoying.
said it, I was like, bleh.
Well, we go bowling like once
So
every other
annoying.
year on vacation. He's like, 275 that good? And I'm
Dang,
like,
that's freaking really good.
shut up, man. I don't even want to have a part of it. I actually think that's why I don't like it.
It's so competitive.
Big bowling, yes. It's a me problem.
Here's a
And
weird.
he's so casually good at it. He's not arrogant or whatever,
just like,
cocky about it.
whatever.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just, what I do.
Shoot, 4 strikes
At
in a
the
row.
Ozarks every other year. When I got to work out the old
The
farm.
first time I ever filled in for you on the Annie Fry show, this was years and years ago.
Super weird to know where this connection is going.
I brought up bowling, and I don't know why.
Because you ran out of things to
But
talk about.
I probably ran out. I was just like, yeah, let's talk about
45 minutes in.
bowling.
you
What's
know.
up with the Nixon administration? But I mentioned that, and I said, here's what I don't like about bowling. I don't like that you can max out the sport. You already know what your top is. You can't do any better than 300. And I don't know if I opened the phones up or what. I got absolutely laid into after that one comment.
314-241-9797. Text us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Why? Because they thought.
I was just saying it's a crappy sport. You don't have to be much
Were
of an
they
athlete.
calling to defend bowling, or were they calling to tell you to do better radio?
They were calling to defend bowling. I was
Yeah.
killing it. But they did not like that comment.
We
They
have a
were all
strong
for small government.
Bowling
Hated what I
contingent.
said about bowling.
Probably had a large bowling contingent. Probably don't have them anymore.
Right, that's gone.
Last time I take vacation, I'll be gone tomorrow. My daughter's got a basketball tournament, state basketball tournament.
Now that's a sport that takes some talent.
Yeah, I can't max that out.
Mm-mm.
You can underperform though.
Back to you, Trisha.
Convicted stowaway. Excuse me. Let me try again. Convicted stowaway arrested again after successfully sneaking onto a plane.
Doesn't sound successful.
A woman convicted of stowing away on a flight out of JFK International Airport in 2024 has done it again. Svetlana Dali snuck by the airline employees at Newark Liberty International Airport and onto a flight from Paris to Milan. Sometime during the more than 7-hour flight, airline staff discovered she was on board without a ticket.
That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. And she's done this multiple times. And she
That's
looks
terrifying
like
her.
a little grandma, kind of. So they keep just letting her go.
Pretty harmless.
No, she's in trouble for this, but she like puts on a little shawl and she's like just kind of shuffles in.
A little walker.
She was detained. She's in trouble.
Again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like last time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just let her stow away. So
Well,
cute.
Svetlana at it again. Aw. Annie, are you okay with sneaking snacks into the movies?
What a turn.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I encourage it. Is it illegal?
All snacks or just certain snacks? What about if it's
Like
popcorn?
pudding?
Yeah. What about if it's beef jerky and pudding?
Ew.
Did you?
I think beef jerky is an acceptable movie theater food, isn't it?
Thank you.
I think beef jerky is an acceptable movie theater food, isn't it?
Thank you.
I think we've solved it.
Okay.
Beef jerky and what?
Pudding, though, no.
Beef jerky and what?
Pudding.
Pudding?
Yeah.
In pudding?
Ew.
It's like how you eat it. You got to have a mechanism.
Just two things I like, and I want to bring them in. Maybe some trail mix.
Yeah, I think you should.
Okay. Thank you.
That is all I have.
Great flow today, guys.
It's a little more than we had. Appreciate it. All right, let's take a quick break. The YouTube live chat poll: should smoking marijuana be made illegal again? The emphasis on the smoking part. It's pretty offensive for the rest of us who don't want to partake, but here we are partaking. YouTube live chat poll. You can go vote in the live broadcast right now. You can text us your thoughts as well at 314-241-9797. Ryan will read some of those texts when we come back. Don't go away. Air Comfort Service. That March time of year is a difficult time of year when it comes to temperature outside and like figuring out simple things like how do I dress, maybe in layers, because it's going to be all the seasons in March. That's the way we know St. Louis to be. It's a good idea to contact Air Comfort Service at 314-513-0091 and ask them about their preferred partner plan. That way you stay ahead of the maintenance on your HVAC system and you don't have to worry about forgetting it and then costly repairs down the road. You know how it goes. You get regularly scheduled heating and cooling system checks. They check the entire system twice a year. Diagnostic calls and repairs have discounts. You get discount on new equipment as well, and you're going to get priority service. 314-513-0091 is the number to call. 314-513-0091. I am a customer myself of Air Comfort Service. I wouldn't have it any other way. And if you don't want to take my word for it, you can just Google the amount of awards and reviews that they have that are just absolutely glowing. You can trust the folks at Air Comfort Service. I do. Online at aircomfortservice.com.
At the St. Charles Convention Center. The top marine dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks will be on site with the newest boats, personal watercraft, docks, and accessories. Step aboard, compare models, and find the perfect ride for your family. Special show pricing and experts ready to help make your boating dreams a reality. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for more information.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
Annie Fry is St. Louis conservative.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight. Hunt you down, eat you alive. Just like animals, animals like animals, moles. And maybe you think that you can hide. I can smell yourself for miles. Just like animals, animals like animals, moles.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. The poll question today asking about smoking marijuana. Should it be made illegal again? There are a million bazillion different applications for the usage of marijuana, but the smoking of it is something that brings people who don't want to partake into it into the equation. So we're kind of asking you if you think that it should be made illegal again. Ryan, you didn't hesitate. You knew, like, before any discussion, you were a big fat yes on this?
Yes.
Brad?
I'm a huge yes. I don't even think it should be legal recreationally. I think it's a medicinal thing. If you need to take it medicinally, anxiety, whatever, that's great. I think that should be a pill, an edible, some form like that. I don't think you should be smoking it because even after you're done smoking it, it stays on your clothes. I can still smell it. That's not fair to us. The agreement that we had was
Not illegal to smell bad.
No, but the agreement that we had was you weren't going to be intrusive in my life if you wanted to do it. And that's not what's happening.
G. Wilker said, haven't smoked pot for years now. Thought it was helping me with PTSD after the Army. Thank you for your service. Oh, I'm sleeping again. Anxiety gone. It was a Band-Aid that took more and more to sleep, etc. Sleep well, etc. You got any texts over there? Let's hit them.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of texts on this topic. Here's the last couple. I want for marijuana to be completely legal. That way the stoners have nothing left to talk about.
Ender on YouTube said, blanket illegality again? No, but I'm fine with it being treated like alcohol in terms of driving, which it is. We just don't call it out as much, I don't think.
This one says, I didn't vote for the legalization to begin with. I'm still of the opinion that smoking pot or ingesting it is unhealthy and potentially addictive. And then another person goes into, I'm not going to read all of it, but a lot of the current research about marijuana in the negative, not in the positive. You always hear about the positive.
Andy said on YouTube, it's not worse than alcohol except for the smell, and that's not a big deal. I'd be fine if smoking specifically was banned in certain public places. So, I mean, there might be some sort of... that's what I said when I wrote the poll. I kind of thought maybe I should have put in public places, but I didn't. But I'm with Andy on that. Like, if you're smoking this, and it's in an area where I am, more importantly, where my children are, big fat problem with that.
Interesting take here from Dean. He says, you should be in the auto industry. Have to get in and out of customers' cars. It smells like pot,
Ew.
not pleasant.
Yeah.
All the time. So it is, that's kind of a private transaction, but it is affecting him.
Silk on YouTube says smoking weed in public should be as illegal as drinking in public, which is not illegal.
I'm interested to see how this poll turns out because I've been watching the text line all day, and it is back and forth. I mean, people going back and forth, and a lot of nuanced takes too. It's not just, oh, I like pot, it should be legal. Oh, I don't, it should be illegal. Everybody's got a really interesting take on this.
Roadmaster, I think another one of our trucker family out there. I haven't smoked weed since 1996 when I got into truck driving. I was subject to a drug test at any time. That's because I don't know if this is terrible to say, but like you grew up and you have responsibilities now and you don't have the ability to just smoke weed all day. Isn't it like if you have the ability to just kind of make that part of your regular day where it needs to be out in public? I'm down just judging. But
this is, here's one to judge. It says, I work at an elementary school. Second and third graders, it's disgusting when a kid comes in reeking of pot
because
all the
parents.
time. It happens every day for some kids.
Jackie said no. However, I do want smoking in public to be made illegal and to implement a test for drivers to determine if they are high. It probably needs to be a cheaper way to do that, according to what I heard on X. G. Wilker said, I voted no, but I'd like to see restrictions in public use. It sounds like there is a compromise that exists among our commenters today that say that libertarian view of like, whatever, dude, you want to do, that's fine. And I say dude like it's just men, and it certainly isn't. But the public thing is a problem. It is a public nuisance.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
How do you think the poll is going to sort out? Have you looked at it, Brad? I'm not telling you.
I haven't, no.
Okay, what do you think it's going to be? Should smoking marijuana be made illegal again?
I think that the smoking thing, I think it's going to be about 55%, yes.
I'll say 70% yes. Go a little higher. The Price is Right 'em.
Well, we do have the results in. I'm going to go ahead and give them to you a little bit earlier. Should smoking marijuana be made illegal again? 57% say yes. 263 votes. Ending the poll right there.
You were close, Brad.
Yeah.
Very close.
I mean, it's a divided issue with the majority of our listeners saying yes. I think that the public nature of it, if I would have added the word public in there, I think it would have been more like what you said. 70. Yeah, maybe even higher than that. Big news today out of Washington, D.C. President Trump has made a change in his cabinet. He has released Kristi Noem as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security and nominated Senator from Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin, to take that spot. We will see how this story unfolds. There are reports that she was fired. There are reports that she was promoted. I bet it depends on the politics of the situation. So keep it right here on 97.1 FM Talk is the Mark Reardon Show. They'll be all over it. Coming up next. Don't go away.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Ethos.
A deep breath could help you